Because you want to know when you're not because you want me and I want to stay. For the girl, for a because you want me and I want to stay. Because you want me and I want to stay. For the because you want to know when you're not because you want me and I want to stay. For the girl, for a because you want me and I want to stay. Because you want me and I want to stay. For the
What a chocolate! The way chocolate it will take ever birthday. That's small though. I'm not doing nothing to fire up.
What if I said, put on your job, not the guy, after the guy situation.
Nobody is there. Nobody there. They say everybody calls us. You happy, man?
The only thing now, they have the machine, the Wi-Fi, the machine, so I can go.
Yeah, so ever back there, because nobody is out. Nobody is out. The only person is out. I want to tell you what you got. I was. What person I will tell you? Again, reach. No, let me be there. Because if there's small market, who? Every. No, me everyone come first. Okay, can I go and have breaking? Mama boy, break that thing for her.
Say, come on, I won't go until it is too late. Tell me before it gets late. We want to care for you and I, 96 for 1 and 2% on the Renaissance Radio Broadcasting Lab, Dubaro. Red and Pains, your Oxide, is Capital Barovia. What a good way. Happy to be back. Let me say happy New Year to all of you following at about this time. What's up? Argument on 296 to 1. I will come on at about this time, talk nothing but real truth as it relates to our country and Liberia. The growth and development depends on us as citizens. Nobody gonna face this. It rests upon us as citizens. We're gonna make Liberia better without either. So let me say welcome to it. Me, I would have been my talk, having you up to the hour. We'll be joined by the man Ansu Sirleaf. And let me say hi up for panelists from the diaspora. The name is Henry. We're going right up to the hour talking about issues as it relates to Liberia. But again, let me say welcome to it. Welcome to as a matter of fact, this should be the first edition since the year. I think so, yes. This should be the very first edition since the year. New year again, beginning new resolutions, and then gear up new ideas. But the question is, craft. What have been are you as you engage new year? What ideas, what mechanisms you have put in place to engage 2025? Grateful to be here again, and that talking nothing politics at about this time as it relates to the area. The growth and development of this country rests on us as citizens. So we are yet again starting a fresh, a fresh year ago, yes, 2025. So obviously, we're going to be joined by, let me say, eyes up to our online viewers, you following us, uh, internet. Let me say a good morning, good afternoon, whatever time at your end. Let me say welcome, closing argument here on 2 FM 96.1 on your FM. That is Henry Jallah, man, my top, hoping to be joined by the man Sirleaf. Yeah, I don't know about you. My knee was very good. This was yes, we're all good. Okay. I'm grateful again. Like I told someone, best thing to be grateful for even was there were a lot of things some of us we did not achieve in 2024, and then we still have the opportunity. But guess what? What gives us the opportunity, the breath of life? Someone say, as long there is life, there is hope. As long there is life, there is hope. There are a lot of things that some of us we did not achieve in 2024, but the path it is not too late. Come on, you could still make it. It could be you as an individual. You have been assigned to certain entity, even though you did not work out in 2024. Too late. 2025 still could still make a huge make your entity better. Even though we are setting expectation, it was very high in 2024, but then it is not too late. Come on, we could still make a huge and then making it better for our country, Liberia. There was a whole lot, and yet still there are things happening in the country. If it turns so, good news, bad news. But as long as there is hope, you still make it up better for yourself. You could still make it up better for yourself. It is not too late. Let me say hats off to the security sector. Most specifically, those of you who find yourself within armed forces of Liberia. Thank you for your service to cross country. Even though uh, the police as well, those of you, what everywhere, it's in the sectors. Let me say hats off to you guys. Keep doing what you are doing for the country. Keep doing best. Also, members of the full state, thank you so much for the service to country. Thank you for keeping uh country alive when it comes to bad information. Some are good, some are bad, misinformation. Like someone always said, journalist you can break. You can make it to be good and you can come back at the same time to make it to be bad. So thank you for the service and you round up your company. You are doing it because of love, because you want the best for Liberia. And so, honest, it's not easy to, sometimes you have to put aside your job. It's not an easy thing. Those of you that are out there, you see it to be very, very easy. It's not an easy thing to always form part of the team at this time. Most specifically, the net hour, what it takes to win the net hour. It's very, very hard. It is hard, but we stay here. We make sure this program comes your way at about this time. And not forgetting the technical department of the Renaissance Communication Incorporated, uh, Ben Spearhead Department, Patano, the legs of Joseph Aki, and even the security. So not easy. They have to guard us to make sure we are home. Yeah, it is not easy, run us such service. So our panelists, have to put aside the job sometimes just to come up because we want Liberia to be better. Like we said, Liberia will only succeed when we come together in unity. In unity. That's the time we're going to go forward. It's not easy to sit on platform at the time, talking about politics as it relates to Liberia because we want Liberia to improve, we want Liberia to grow. This country will only grow when we come together in unity. So even you, the listeners, the followers, those of you that burn data, you have to get us online using your data. It's not an easy thing, it is actually difficult because you yourself to Labrador to be better, you want Labrador to grow, you want Labrador to improve. So you have to burn the data to get nothing but just information, to get the happiness in Liberia. So that's why you always put the data on. Those of you that follow us via the radio. And this program is also available to several other radios across Liberia, the closing argument. So that means you are welcome Peabody. It's on, we're getting a similar school. Dr. Peabody, say
Hey guys,
things
welcome.
from our end.
Happy New Year to everybody, guys. Welcome again to the
Getting
closing
us
acumen. Welcome. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. We back on the closing acumen, guys. Uh, welcome. Today is Friday. Happy New Year, everybody. I know that we were not on uh, uh, the last 2 days. We had to take a break. New Year Day, we wanted to take a break, and then yesterday we want to rest. Uh, guys, this is a challenge. Sometimes coming on the show, it's not easy. So at least we need to rest sometimes, especially when you have a full time job and have other things to do. We try to take a break. But again, we are back, and we are very happy to be back. Thank God for all of you. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for taking up your time to just come here and sit with us to watch this show. Even watching the show makes you that it's like you're doing what we're doing. Just sitting there and watching, which is great. We appreciate all of you guys. For those joining us right now, Benedict Gadier, he said good evening everyone. Hilton Blair J Doe, welcome Hilton. Abu might come later. Sarah Dupu. Sarah, we miss you. We haven't seen you for a couple of times following us from work. Calvin, come back, Sarah. James, yeah. Kelvin G. Allen. Guys, we try to make Closing Acumen a very open channel. So platform, people come in and talk about their views and stuff like that. We have James Ya, Kegati Pasiwi. I hope I got it right. Asata Miller, good. Yeah, how are you? Welcome again to the Closing Acumen. Morris Phillip, welcome. Our own sister, Yemichu Asiadu Mensa, welcome. Susan Pay, good to see you, Susan. Jacob Twet, good to see you. What's the purpose of the Liberian Fire Service, brother? I'm telling you, they just come in and I mean, that fire service will not perform well. You got Dillon, cameraman as a deputy director. What do you expect? Somebody who was a cameraman taking and making deputy director for a fire service, you think they will perform? I mean, like taking a tested driver and say he can drive plane. That's how it's liked. Nimatsan, President Baka, your successful leadership and pray. Thank you, Nimatsan. Welcome. He's a strong supporter of Baka. Nobody want bad things to happen to Liberia or the government, but we want to say the fact. Ruben Cannon, welcome. Aliu Kamara, welcome. Gamen Giflo, welcome. Daniel Puzizi, Doity. What's up, my man? I ain't hear from you for long, Daniel. Hope everything is well. Emmett Aaron, Mozart Dennis, my brother in Minnesota, welcome. Everybody, welcome. Welcome, my brother Johnny. Welcome, Johnny. Grace is in the back. Let's bring Grace on. Welcome. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. We're looking forward to Grace is back. Sylvester is here too. Very welcome, Sylvester. We're looking forward to a very packed show, guys. We want to welcome you. We'll be here. We'll be here for the next up to 8 o'clock. So let's get this ball rolling. We want to encourage you, and just a lot of stuff that is happening in Liberia right now. One of the things that been happening in Liberia right now is that I want to bring that to you. It's training. I like to utilize the newspaper because that's where I can get my information from. Not what people send me, but what people. So I'd like us to start. Firstly, we begin with fire destroying 4 houses in Ganta. And it said that the residents are so disappointed over the fire service response. In Banga. We want to get to that. Again, Liberia is struggling. We put our personal interests over our priorities, the country priority. Our lawmaker. Ishmael, send me that picture, man. That Jallah 26 picture from Germany. Yeah, that would be great. I would love to have it. But one of the problems is we put personal interests for our own interests over the country, and that's what Liberia continue to suffer from. We don't complain about fire. We do nothing about fire until somewhere get burned, Capitol building get burned, other places get burned, people die. Then we try to act serious about fire and stuff like that. It's not going to get any better. People are going to die. Look at the fire in Nuclear the other day that destroyed so many homes. I saw you guys had something there about fire. You guys want to put that stuff back on, guys? You want to put it back on? But Grace, if you guys can put it back on, then we'll begin to deliberate on it a little bit. We got a lot to cover. We got to talk about. Got to talk about the Liberia, the majority block pressure Speaker Kofa to vacate office amid legislative crisis, and we got a lot to talk about. But let's start until the guys can put that picture up. Hold on, I think I have it here. Let me see. Okay. I don't know what is this. I don't think this is where the fire was, so I'm gonna take this down. It's not where the fire took place. But let's start. Grace, good to see you. Johnny, good to see you. Let's talk about Johnny. Let's start. Let's give our opening statement. Let's start this whole thing because we got to be at the 8 o'clock. I love for us to be on radio where the guys go we can't be on radio. I don't like that. I want people to get the message. But let's go. Let's start with Johnny. Grace is here. I mean, everybody give the opening statement and then we'll move on.
Can you hear me?
Of course.
All right. So thank you. Let me say welcome to my darling sister and mother on the show. Grace is here, and she's here to back discussion. Madam, I hope you recovering from the sad situation, but that's the word of God. So anyway, yeah, Brother Peabody, thank you also for being on time to start the show, and Brother Pewee, Sylvester. Peabody, you were talking about the issue with regards to fire, and I want to start my statement from that end. This has to do with governance and preparation. And, going back to me growing up in the village in the interior, I remember the people had regulation on fire activities in our village, especially so during the dry. During the dry, they had strict restriction on no one leave fire unattended, and make sure you get fire on, you get it off entirely. And all the necessary restrictions were laid on how to use the dry time. So we come to national government, the modern state of Liberia. The modern state should take statistics of fire disaster and fire events during what period and what time of the year. When you do the statistics, knowing the time and period of the year you have these things occurring, then that puts you in the position to begin to prepare yourself for fire disaster during the same kind of period. What do I want to say? Last year, most of the fire disaster we had in the country was the same period from the dry time up to from December to somewhere around March, April, and middle of May. Okay, we had a lot of fire disaster in Monrovia, pretty much close to 10 or more incidents. What did we do from those information we gather, or the data we gathered from last year, fire disaster? Did we use that statistic, those information, the data, to prepare for the dry time, to make policy, to make regulations as to what to do to prevent the reoccurrence of fire in the country or even in Monrovia? You understand? And to the extent that we had Peabody being caught with fire, and now just a few days ago we heard about several homes being caught with fire, that means the fire service department of Liberia need to reinforce its activity when it comes to preventive actions. Do we need more community engagement, community awareness, what to do to prevent fire? Now, that takes me to our urban planning. Our communities are not properly planned in a way that there will be immediate response to emergency. We build on all the other ways, we build any way we want to build, and there's no one providing regulation on how we should construct, or we should do what and do when. So all these things are all, they boil down to what? To governance. So my opening statement is our government need to use statistics, to use data, to plan, make policy, make regulation for the good of the people. Thank you. Let me start here and let my colleagues come up with our opening statement.
You are muted. You are muted, Peabody.
I said, Grace, God, we want to welcome you back. You had some challenges. Your brother passed, which is very painful and challenging. But we were able to reach out, talk to you, pray for you, everything, and thank God that He brought you back strong and healthy, in mind and body, to come back and to contribute to the happening. Like we would like to welcome you, Grace. Welcome, and then give your opening statement.
Thank you, Peabody. I am so happy to be back, and I miss the platform. I miss all you guys. I was very happy that we have a back end where we can communicate, because then I don't know what we're going to do, with all the back end. So because I was not coming on, I was going through my grieving, stages in my life, losing my wonderful brother who I love so dearly. And for you guys in the back, how you supported me. I really appreciate it. I would like to say thank you to the closing argument, family, and I really appreciate what you guys did for me. I am happy to be back and talking, and making sure that I will be able to represent something that will help to change Liberia. Before I go further, I am as concerning the fire issue. Before I speak about that, I would like to say that I was very intrigued today when I saw the great work in District 7 in my county by Representative Musa Benete. I mean, I love to see Liberians be able to step to that plate. And I like what he's doing in his district. And it shows that, if he's giving, position in any way, he will be able to deliver because during his campaign, he said he would do these things and he's doing it. So if we can just get some other representatives in Liberia to, do the same thing that he's doing, Liberia will be a change place. I know people talk about public policy. We are not in that position in the country right now. We know that these things don't even work in Liberia. Liberia is not a traditional country like a regular country that those things will work public policy. So if we can have one or two people who have the mind, the heart for the country, and in position that will be able to do these things and send a message to the rest of the people that this is what's supposed to be done, is highly appreciated. You have to teach somebody how to fish, not to give them the fish. And that's why representativeness is doing his district. I'm really, really proud of this man. Because I know he came on this platform and he said everything the first time I met him, and he is delivering. I am saying this because I want to encourage the other representatives then to step in that place. Use the money that is given to you and do something in your district for your people. We know talking, you come and talk and talk and talk. The country should change, the country should, but you have to be able to effect that change by doing your part. And that's what we want to do. But I just wanted to say that I'm very, very happy to see that he also put two bills on the floor for a short while for a representative to do that. They should try to follow his footsteps so that work can be a better place. Maybe by changing in the districts and the representative, changing in the different districts, will help to the head of the country to say, oh, this is what it's supposed to be, and do that. Presidents have come and gone, and they have not even done a pinch of what that man has done in his district. And we just have to say, you got to get the people their flowers all their life. Concerning the fire issue in Liberia, it is very sad. I don't know how the government is addressing this matter, but I don't see anything except I never see it because I've been trying to look to see what they are putting in place. As Johnny said, this is a collective issue. People got to get together community wise. People got to come together to address it. We have to raise awareness. We also have to be, part of engaging the community. The representatives there too and the senators can do that in the different districts and counties. We cannot just sit and sit in those positions and just let the people engage your county, engage your district on these fire things. Can we take programs? If you're lacking, ask some people. We will help you. The other day, Crossing Argument were in the back trying to have meetings to see how they can even help with fire trucks and stuff. It takes a district and a county at a time. Because if we're waiting for the government to just hear it as a government, it might probably never happen because Liberia is not built right now on that aspect. So we should realize that. But it's good to be back. I'm happy to see you guys. Julius, I want to really appreciate you. You really been there with me and for me. And I can't forget those kind of things. Although everybody been, interacting with me. But when I was in North Carolina, when my brother was ready on his dying bed, Julius came to the hotel and he visited me, and we had a very wonderful time with the rest of the Liberians that came to see me. And I was very impressed with what you did. You drove 3 hours. I mean, I owe you one. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to see you and Grace. We are very happy to have you back, and good to have you back. Sylvester, you were following this story. You next. The situation of fire in Liberia. Uh, People continue to die. Homes and other area is continue to be destroyed. the government will only talk about a one time when there's an incident, and then it's just like shooting in America. They talk about shooting, the CNN, others bring all these experts and everybody, and then it just died down. The next day, the next few months, there's another shooting somewhere, and then they bring all the forensic expert what they could have done and what they couldn't do, and then nothing happened. It appears to be the same thing going on in Liberia. We had Speaker Kofa House was burned. We had other places that got burned. Recently, the Capitol building got burned, and other important places got burned in Liberia. And up to now, the government have not even put in place. The legislature have not even come up with anything to show funding for. They just passed a budget. They have not shown anything to say, we put $2 million in this budget to buy a fire truck for our country. Nothing like that. Whereby places are still burning. Nuclear time the other day, almost all the home got wiped out. What will you say about that, Sylvester?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Let me say a very wonderful welcome to everybody. And Grace, let me welcome you back. And we want to say the good old Lord that we know will be with your family. And we all will join you in keeping the great legacy of your brother, that it may continuously endure. His good past, his memory will always be a blessing to those that are already alive. So let me welcome you back on the show. Dr. Peabody, you just stated something. I would begin with what the reference you said on the most powerful country on earth, the government of the United States of America. Whenever a situation is here in this country, you hear all the forensic experts will come and do analysis. You will hear some of the congressional individuals from both sides will come and give their own issue, but it being a very tough year, decades running, that no basic fundamental process of legislating something that would try to stem this process. And then the debate would be who the NRA is controlling and the rest of that. So it's a kind of a contagious process now moving forward. And that's a kind of a situation again. I may share the same thought process of many of us again, but again, I will put the onus back on individuals, property owners in the country. Now, it is very paramount that we expect the government, that's part of the reason why the government of Liberia created or legislated and establishing the National Fire Service Agency. And the director of that institution is clapped with the responsibility of managing the institution very well. And now there's a lot of reason why part of the statutory responsibility of that institution is not only to quench fire when fire got it on properties in the country, but part of the responsibility is to prevent the process of fire coming about and put into place those preventive mechanisms to avert most of those potential danger that may be caused by fire. There may be a lot of different flammable fires, liquid fire, combustible fire. So there is a defined legislation that went through the country and put all those things into place. So part of the reason is that we do have some even regulations that have not been met by all of the parties, if you will. That there's no home in the Republic of Liberia that should be out of fire extinguisher. It's part of that. It is in our legislation. And that all moving vehicle in the country, moving vehicles, all registered vehicles, and every vehicle in our country should be registered. But unfortunately, they are not. Should also carry fire extinguisher and other fire preventive tools that they can use in the event of this kind of a thing. All homes, public buildings, private buildings, and businesses and the rest of that, factories and rest, all those things. So if you have to go do those kind of inspection, you wouldn't see much, even 20% of those institutions trying to live by those things. That's one of the major flaws we have in the system. And I think it's quite unfortunate that the government is not living by that. Past government, this government, not living by that expectation. Why is it that you establish this institution? And the institution itself is carrying a lot of incompetent elements, if you will. So you need, for instance, the operation of the area, you need people that will sensitize our people and that will learn in the area. So there's a combination of a lot of factors that is making the fire service division that the Peabody to be the way it is. Incompetence, lack of fire regulations, and lack of support from the national government. Now, quickly, my advice to individual citizens. And when I mean individual citizens, people, these are people that will struggle to go through the daily rigor and have their properties. Part of the process now, we have to learn to adhere to the safety mechanism, the preventive mechanism. And since the government fear us, we have to deploy that. Now, if you are building your home, if you have the means, try to get, because most of those fires sometimes have been caused by electrical problem, electrical reason, or some level of being careless. We that don't have the other means, but it's a candlelight or mosquito coil. If you go into bed, if you know you don't leave the mosquito coil on and leave your house by 5:30 in the morning sometime, and you don't know how you place the mosquito coil, that's one. Candlelight is another thing. And the issue of all electrical, if you don't have the means to buy those expensive wires to put in your home, you have to do something and take a wash on your home so that you prevent fire from sparking. These are the major causes of those things in our. So we private people, we can learn to save ourselves by doing these things. If you are growing something out, if you're having this LDC, and most of those things that I'm quoting also is due to most of those LDC connections. And most people don't have step down thing that will prevent those things from their busting out. If the shock is from the LDC line, that power line that's coming is packing some home with those substandard wires, it will cause some level of fire issue. So the government failed us. That is a known fact. That we as people now should begin to deploy some of this preventive process in helping to safeguard our properties, our home, and in the lives of our loved ones. So I think that will be my opening point on that process. It's a terrible thing, and we as people we have to come and help ourselves moving forward.
Lofa Julius, good to see you and welcome. We've been following the topic here today. We're talking about the issue with the fire, continued fire in our country. I want you to chime in. So.
Okay. So great to be back on here, guys. Happy New Year. Grace, good to see you back on here, and our prayer continue to be with you and your family. Thank you for mustering the courage to join us back on the closing argument. Happy New Year to all of our listening audience from far and near. Thank you for being with us on the closing argument. And we hope that we all can continue in the journey to 2025 and until we can sense some level of transformation in Liberia. Regarding the fire issue, I see where one can point finger at the victims here, but not taking into consideration what we should really, or who we should really hold accountable. In the United States, as people often try to make these comparisons, their comparison is, even in the United States, like what Dr. Peabody and Sylvester alluded to. In the United States, the issue of gun violence and what is done about it. The reason why that does not fit in with this issue that we are discussing is simple. The issue of gun violence is there are legislation, okay? There are policies put in place. But the big money guys, those who are able to, just intrude their way through, are able to manipulate certain aspect of things to make sure that those policies are not implemented to its fullest. Where it doesn't apply to Liberia is the fact that we don't even consider the bare minimum preventative method that needs to be applied. How much budgetary allocations are being made? Let's discuss the issue of fire trucks. Let's look in the budget today. If you are to look at what is happening, if we are to make that comparison, the United States gun violence to the issue of fire in Liberia, you will see that we are not even prioritizing the fight to even prevent fire. We are not making the needed budgetary allocations. It's not there. You would think that every district in Liberia should have at least 2 or 3 fire trucks. Then we can start to educate the people. A minimum 2 or 3 fire trucks for each district in Liberia. Mandatory budgetary allocations should be made. And not only should these allocations be made, but they should be available so that purchases can be made and maintained. That is how you address some of these things, and in addition to that, then we can follow up with what we call preventative methods, where we educate the people on how to prevent fire issue and all of these things. But you can sit here all day and tell these people, when you go into the market, turn your candles off or just turn the light off. Yeah, they would listen to you though. But you have to also take into consideration, when the fire start in the neighbor's house and that person lives in the zinc shack, what preventative method can they apply to prevent that fire, as compared to having a fire truck readily available, responsive, not just to simply have them there, but very responsive, so that the minute someone dials the number, the emergency number, the fire truck is ready to be there and on time, so that even if they can prevent property destructions, they can do that. They can save lives. These things are not being taken into consideration. And if they are even considered, they are not being applied to the fullest. This is why we find ourselves to where we are. This is not because there's some kind of politics as compared to the United States, where the issue of gun violence is because there is a major politics that is in play here. Folks want to make money out of the sales of guns. Who wants to make money out of fire burning people's houses in Liberia? So, I mean, that part I totally disagree with. I think it's just the refusal of government to apply when they need to apply just the basic knowledge, just the basics, okay? Understanding that you came to government to protect lives and property. Government is service-oriented. That's what it is. If we cannot address these basic things, such as fire, health, security, then I see no reason why one should be asking to serve the government. That means you don't even understand the reason why you're there. You don't even understand why you were considered to serve in the first place. It's a shame that today, in this modern dispensation, we are still talking about fire trucks. We cannot afford fire trucks in Liberia. Not every district can afford fire trucks, ambulance, and all of these things. And then we want to make it seem like it's normal, or this is a normal thing happening around the world. No, that is not a normal thing. It is a failure on the part of a bunch of thieves who refuse to act in the interests of the people. Instead, they are playing party trick out of it. I'll stop at that.
That people, Mr. Sonny, no one try to make it look like, you see, sometimes you just come with a show with a set
No, Pewee. That's my position. That's my position.
This is wrong.
Pewee, that's my position.
Here, everyone should blame. You get so emotional about the topic. And
Pewee, this is not emotional. It's my position statement.
So now you confuse the discussion. No one came up and say here that it's normal, it's happening around the world. Nobody.
And I did not say that. You made a statement.
And for my conversation, we said that the government is not doing much. And let me say this to you. In a society like ours, where the government is not coming and we are expecting to do, the best way forward is to put in this preventive mechanism. That's what I said. And I stand by those. The fact that the government is not coming and the preventive mechanism will help us. If I were going home and cut off my generator or bring my double throw down or break us down, it will prevent electrical shock from my home. If I were going to bed and not use candle light and make sure the candle light is somewhere that will involve fire, it will help. That's why I said nobody set an example saying it's normal around the world. No. The reason why I talk about the LR, the gun situation here is because what other people say is consistently happening. And I make reference back to the country. The same is happening back in our country. We say it is a reckless part of the government failing to do what is ought to do for the people. It's a fiduciary responsibility on the part of the government to do those things. And if they don't do it, we will come and say it. It's not today we're talking about fire situation, but we can prevent it ourselves. If the government that is expected to help us not helping us, we can start them, put more and beat them to do what they ought to do. That's what I said.
So if I can, Dr. Peabody, if I could quickly, let me just respond. And again, in response to Pewee's statement, I think I was very clear. All right, the comparison cannot be made. There isn't one here. We are talking about the current issue right now, and obviously the government have failed. If I were to ask you today, Pewee, let us be specific and address, since you want to speak to the issue as you alluded. Let's talk about budgetary allocation. That's where it starts. How much has been put in the budget to address the issue of fire safety, just general safety? How much can you speak to that have been allotted in the budget for each district? to consider this fire control, even training for these very firefighters. What I'm saying,
And let me say this to you also now.
Go.
We don't put money in budget for district process here. And you ought to be educated about these things.
Oh
Our
my
country is
goodness.
different. This is a developed society. That's an undeveloped country. So what we do, we put a buck money in the budget for the National Fire Service. Now, for instance, Zosa District. That's what I come in.
Will you allow me to land?
Because you want to give
Pewee,
things
let me land. Pewee,
I don't want to go back and forth on this.
Pewee, let me land.
All district.
Pewee,
you're both fine.
let me land. Pewee, let me land.
Pewee, for fire truck.
Pewee, let me land. You know, part of the reason why most of our people often make this statement about the educated people feel us, it is because of this kind of mentality that the likes of you exhibit. Because it is not in existence today, it cannot be applied. That is faulty, antiquated knowledge. Because it is not in existence today, does not in any way, shape, or form negate the fact that it can be applied. Simply because it's not being done. If you notice in the Western world, where you live today, it is happening and it's working successfully. What makes you any less intelligent than the Caucasian who is applying it today?
There are people
That's
move
what
on
I'm
there.
saying to you.
I don't know they're going to start where somebody is very
Okay.
pragmatic on the more than 200 years ago. I used to be here before.
What we've been saying here is,
That's what I have, man.
what I would say here is, it happens continuously in America. CNN and others bring the forensic.
Same thing happened.
Nothing happens. The next 2
But
weeks.
there is no people. There is no comparison. We can't say that here.
Well, okay, that's your point. You're great, but yeah, my point here is that's your point. But my point here is, and I'm not condemn your point whether the comparison or not. If I say comparison, you say it's not comparison, it's fine. But here's my point here. Every 2 or 3 months, there's a shooting in America. All these people will come. Folks will make statements. They'll bring all the police experts, all the forensic experts. You still see the same thing happening. They're still shooting and stuff like that. Fire is going on in Liberia. They have done nothing. They just passed a landmark budget. They've done nothing to fight the fire situation. Say, let me put at least 1.5 billion in this budget to purchase new fire truck, to train new fire service officials and stuff like that, so that they can be able to control this thing. They have not done it. In the next 3 or 4 months again, or in the next 2 weeks, fire will burn another place again, and Joe Bugger going to show up there, say he go visit the fire family, and they don't have a solution to deal with it. That's what we're saying. The Capitol building burned. There's not one fire truck at the Capitol building. If they have fire truck at the Capitol building, it wouldn't have gone that far. Now the police did not equip. The fire service not equipped. They got no way of knowing who burned that place. Nobody would know. They wouldn't make a story or make a lie on people and say this person burned. But I don't want to stay on that long. There's another issue.
I wanted to say something on that, people. Well, I wanted to put my take in it. So please, before you go further, I will say that the reason why I say there is no comparison to America is that I know things happen in this country. America is a big, huge country, almost you can compare it to a continent. So Liberia is the size of Tennessee. If anybody looking at the map right now, go look at Tennessee. That's the size of Liberia. Maybe if I'm not even mistaken, Tennessee may be a little bit bigger than Liberia. So the kind of things that happen in America here, although it's happening, we see that people still have investigation is done. People are persecuted. And that's what Liberia is lacking. Like the Capitol building burned. Did you ever see the police director come and give us any information? Maybe a day or two, or maybe 2 days after, he will come and say something. So this is what has happened. And we already got 1 or 2 people suspects, and we are investigating the matter to make the public feel safe. A boy was beaten. He was murdered in front of people passing in a very popular marketplace. People took pictures, they recorded it, but nobody could help him. Have we heard anything from the investigate for the police or anybody, maybe the police spokesperson, to say anything, giving us information on a regular basis that will keep the citizens, safe? People, because as long as the police is speaking and saying that and we investigating this matter, people will feel safe to be in the community because they say, you know what, I can go about my business. The police they investigating. Something will come out of this. Compare when you comparing America to Liberia, there is no comparison because nothing will be done in America. The people get closure on these things. Investigation is done. The people are arrested. They go to prison. Some of them are on death row because of the now we know the policies are still not in place when it comes to guns and you know how they can get guns out of the street, but the people are still working on it. It's a consistent working business because this has to do with parties and stuff like that, and the rich people trying to gain more. But as far as investigation, things are done, and I would say that's why I think Liberia should always take it from they can take it from the holistic side because Liberia as a country, we are now a traditional country. I say that we can't compare Liberia as a country to Ghana and other countries where the head is leading in the right direction. So now that's why I see that these senators, they are like governors, like the governors there, they take responsibility of their state. Help your people, give them the awareness, show them how to use. In fact, licensing has not even done in the country, so we can't even blame our people with the whole fire thing. It goes back to the government. I'm doing some remodeling in my house. They put a big inspection sign on my window to tell the people that in the entire area to know that something is going on within my house before the people can even do what they have to do. Inspection have to come within, check the electricity, the water, everything. Those things don't happen in Liberia. So what can these senators and district representatives do is to make sure they give the people awareness. This is what's going on. If you have enough money in the budget to help your community, what the projects you will do? Maybe get some fire extinguisher for each house, show the people how to use it. And those kind of things will help when you start to do it from a lay point of view, because Liberia is the country that there where Liberia is as a country. Holistically, it's not going to happen right away. So we admonishing these people that are in power again, the representatives, the senators. You start taking control of your counties and your district. You start putting in the money that's given to you to do work in your district. You use this money to help the people. Then it start from there. Then maybe it will get holistic when we vote the right person into power that will be able to do this thing for the country as a whole. That's what I'm just saying. But you know what? This in America we can't compare because investigation, prosecution in Liberia there is no prosecution, no investigation. Even if they prosecute, when they go to the judiciary, the judges then take side, they take bribe, and people just go to jail for 1 year, 2 years. Cases that people should be on death row for. They will send them to jail for 3 years, and they will come out and do the same thing. So you can't compare. That's what I'm saying.
So,
All right.
Peabody, let me just come in. Peabody, 1 minute. I just want to provide some, just a little bit, maybe 2 minutes. The whole issue of fire disaster for Liberia. I understand why we want to compare America to Liberia. But again, like I said earlier, the two populations are different. Liberia is just under 6 million people, right? Which could be probably a size of a city in the US, right? So the management of that population is by far more easier to manage 6 million people compared to managing hundreds of millions of people in the US. So for Liberia, we have a greater advantage if we are serious to plan for disaster response, emergency response, because we have less population and we have easy way to do the work. Now, we do data-driven development work. Data is key to policy. Data is key to development. I guess last draft season, I got maybe before the show end, I will share with you that some statistics I got on Liberia when it comes to fire disaster last draft season. And generally, we understand that the fire disaster occurs in the dry time. During the rain, we hardly get fire disaster. So what do we do then as a government when it comes to policy as to how to address fire situation? So we already know that during the drought time, we have high potential of fire disaster because the sun is striking out in Morovia and everywhere around. That's why from my beginning statement I said, even when I grew up in interior in Lofa, once the other people know that there will be a serious sunshine, they will make serious regulation in every town. No one leave fire on. Even to bring your farm, you have to consult your neighbors so you all can go together in the bush to let fire and burn the farm because you don't want disaster where the fire will spill over from the farm to the next place. So if our people in the old days had these simple regulatory actions to keep their place safe, why don't we today modern day people for Liberia? What's wrong with us? And I think it's just because we have people in position that don't understand the role that they are occupying. Seriously, because you can't be a fire manager or fire director and you don't want to have a program to respond to fire, to call fire off. Okay, like everybody's saying here, okay, we have all these challenges. So one approach is community initiative. Engage the communities, inform them. Look, every year we observe that from the period to this period, we have more fire disaster. Can we all work together to prevent our home from being affected by fire? Until the government can put necessary things in place in terms of providing financial or police or money in the budget, the fire department to be able to deploy around. I was just discussing with some Garguah in Lofa. We got one fire truck parking in for that had never would be moved one day to fight any fire. Because there's a fire disaster in Vonyama 2 days ago where somebody just dropped a cigarette on somewhere and the whole place got lighted because the sun is so hot. Everywhere is dry. Everywhere is dry. All the leaves are dry. So they could cause any fire anytime. So I'm just saying our government agency, even our lawmaker, like Grace is saying, our lawmaker representatives, they should be fast started in thinking about how to address because the function of government is to serve. Simple as it is, to serve, not to be served. Once you go in government from presidency down, you are there to serve people, to respond to their needs. That's why in the social contract theory, say we gave you our right, we let you to lead us and to give us services. And also include doing that. I was in Freetown after the Ebola crisis. I was asking the guy, how are you doing Ebola? They have gotten more ambulances. And what I really caught my attention was the guy employed ambulances on on the highway, on the farm roads. So I asked him, why are you doing that? He said, because the government is responsible. We deploy the ambulances on the village roads or the town road, just in case you get an incident where somebody got hit from in the forest or in the bush while farming and they need response, we can be there to address it. Response time management. That's key. Response time management. I'm in Duporo. If I experience fire disaster here, one way fire brigade leave from maybe Morovia or from fire or APRC office in or what the place name somewhere across the bridge into Jallah or where to reach me. Whereas Queens Bay as a city, as a district, should have a fire post to give or to respond to any disaster in Queens Bay in the shortest possible time. So I mean, it's good that at the early part of the dry time we are discussing this. I'm hoping and hoping and praying that our government officials will take this show in good faith and hear our discussion and begin to act in the best interest of the Liberian people. Thank you.
All right, guys, let's move on. Everybody have their own contribution. I know Liberia cannot be compared to America, but where the skeletons, you have people in America don't want the issue of background check for guns and all those things. They don't want it because the thing will take away certain things and stuff like that. But let's move on, guys. There is a trending story that we just took on the front page newspaper. It talks about the majority block pressure the Speaker Kofa to vacate office amid legislative crisis. I just want to read shortly, one or 2 minutes. It said, as the 55th legislature prepared to commence its second section on January 13, the self-styled majority bloc has intensified efforts to force Speaker Jonathan Fonati Kofa out of office. The bloc, which has declared Representative Richard Nagwe as their speaker, is demanding that Speaker Kofa vacates his Capitol building office to make way for their preferred leader. Front Page Africa has obtained text messages exchanged between Representative Collier, the majority bloc self-declared chairman on rules and order and administration, and Speaker Kofa. In the message, Representative Collier ordered the speaker to remove his belongings from the office and avoid further embarrassment. I'd like for us to begin on that. I'd like for us to talk on that. Let's begin with Grace, and then we'll go to Sylvester. The other guys I stay out. So Grace, let's begin with that. The majority bloc is requesting that Speaker Kofa vacate his office or could face further embarrassment. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's totally unfair to Kofa at this point. But then, like where it is. that's the kind of thing that we Liberians allow to happen. When will we take a stance on things that are not supposed to be going on like that? When Liberians would say, you know what, we take a strong stance and then we get in the street and maybe we would just stand. You don't have to run, you don't have to fight the police. You just go there and stand and demand that this is not going to happen in your country. But most time, when we're supposed to take a stance, we won't. Liberia had the biggest protest ever in June 7th. And then at the end of the day, when things were about to happen, CNN were even saying they were coming there. They were even there. I mean, I saw articles on CNN. They announced the Liberian protests on air in America. That was a huge thing. And at the end of the day, the leaders of the protest, what they did, they bailed. So that's the country you have when um the certain people decide that they will not go by the law, and then certain people say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna just be stubborn, I will stand my ground, I'm not gonna remove myself. But for me, as a patriotic Liberian, if I was in that situation, I would remove myself. That's what I would do, because I would start to think about the poor people who don't have food and what it is that they need. I already made my point. I already stood my ground. This is what the people are doing. They are acting like they're above the law. No man's above the law. But I just wanted to show the country and the people of the country this is what's going on. This is time for them to open their eyes. But for the sake of the people, although this is wrong, I will remove myself. But because of this has been going on so long, the Capitol building, the renowned building that other people respect, beside Liberians that are proud of. People go to Liberia, they go to that place just to see it. It's a historical site that our forefathers broke their backs. Some of them cried, died. They had never had food to eat. Mosquito bit them. They died from malaria just to have that building up there to set, for Liberia to be a better place. And it's burned because now everybody, one side said this and the other side said that. So right now with this whole majority black and, not majority black, I don't know, and the minority, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Some thing has to be done. Maybe the president need to not speak on it, although he can choose not to because it's not his place. But because this thing has gone so far and it's destroying the development of the country, things cannot be done. People are in knuckleheads. One group said they're leaving, the other group said they're staying. Something has to be done. Who would be the person and say, you know what? Or do I take this case to Kofa? If I was in Kofa's shoes, that's what I was going to do. I made my points. These people are corrupt. Number one, they don't go by the law. Number two, they are very, very not competent, because competence has to do with it. We know that we're supposed to follow processes. So if you're not following processes in a place that you're working, means that you are very incompetent, or else you will follow what you're supposed to do to get what the result you're supposed to have. So all these things I have proven it to the Liberian people, this is what they're doing. So I will remove myself and then maybe I will take another route. But something else will happen. I'm scared, because who knows, if somebody get vest again, they will go and burn the executive mansion down. So I mean, this is where I am. I can't say anything more.
Sylvester, what do you say about that?
Before Sylvester coming, I just want to say something. You can't function for respect for yourself if you cannot function in a certain position. The people you want to lead, the people say they don't trust you to lead them. Remove they can't work with you, or you can't function in a certain position. I'd rather remove myself to be disgraced. That's just what I want to say.
Yeah, Dr. Peabody, my position being clear on the situation ever since. The process about the tune, the speaker, the constitutional speaker, unconstitutionally, I've differed with that ever since. And again, this is the basic of having the speaker is just one of those individuals, a comrade that is their leader, and the rest of that is just first among equal. But the point that it reached this level, and one thing I want to say, and I'm just tired of having discussion on this thing. So I will be very brief on this one today, this evening. One thing I would say, what is they are indulging in, or what they've been doing past history, is totally unconstitutional. right? And I'm not going to say it this way, but again, and probably the speaker is trying to prove a point. That's why he stay adamant. That's one of the reasons. But I believe that he will be throwing in the towel. If you reach at the point that I'm just dumbfounded on it now, so I don't even know what to say. So I would just learn on this because it's just situation. It's just going in this process here. It's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. I would just end on this. Now the fight that they want to remove him, I don't know how they're going to get him from it because he said maybe they're going to bring Timo Jack for jacking out of his office. I don't know how they're going to do it. So maybe we'll have to call public web minister to get one of those machines. They go tower car then take straight to rehab house. And I don't do it because the guys at the he's not going nowhere and they want to get him up. So we want to see this movie. I think it's going to be a season movie. Maybe Lofa going to edit the movie and show which part. So I rest here, please. I want to see how that Timo Jack going to drag him. The guy is not going nowhere, and he's not going nowhere. So, but quickly, what's going to embarrass them is that if they don't fix this thing between now and the state of the nation, and they confuse anything, a big trouble. This government will be embarrassed. The MCC office thing is being ongoing now for them to establish the office to create a thing. If they don't take time, we will do effort to kill cow and eat dry and let people can say. We don't want to kill cow and eat dry. The MCC will help the country move forward. That's my only advice to them. They have to fix it. And this guy believes he can use this to embarrass them. And that's why now he's doing. He's not going to resign. He's just going to cause problem for them. And they shouldn't allow that to happen. Do the right thing and move the country forward. Okay?
But so before we go to Johnny, what about the Supreme Court? What is the Supreme Court doing?
The Supreme Court already set a date to respond to the bill of information.
Okay.
That would be the 10th of this month. The
Okay.
Supreme Court is going to respond to the bill of information on the 10th of this month. I don't know when it's going to be the 10th, the weekday, but the Supreme Court is going to respond to that. Probably, what I'm inclined to believe, what I'm hearing from inside the Supreme Court, the court is going to be very definitive this time around, and just send a shot. And it's good. The 10th versus the time, so we're still going to have almost 2 weeks to the state of the nation. So when the Supreme Court will be clear this time around, or I hope they're not going to be something up, then it will be clear for the country to move on. And I think, again, he's also waiting for that. The decision is clear that the Supreme Court didn't speak on his side, but he'll throw in the towel. But yeah, the Supreme Court should say something on the 10th of this month. That's good.
Can I ask you a question quick, Pewee? So let me ask you. So everything is done through the majority bloc. So now they only just fighting for the office. So the speaker is just, because even the executive throw in the towel that they are working with the majority bloc. The Senate did the same thing. They came and said they were working with majority bloc. So the speaker he's making no decision. He's not doing anything when it comes to governing the House. I mean, they are not respecting him on that. Now he's considered as a regular representative. So now they're only fighting for that space and to move him from inside.
Yes, there's not a space to fight for you, Rex. He just like Jana, right? You had a grace to your house, you got something. I love a boot on there, but nothing in the motorbike. Yeah, nothing in the motorbike, right? So when you try, that's what you feel like I can run to here. I know no tip for anybody. Anybody can just run to here and pass. That's the situation. You got the bulldog that is huge bulldog, but no teeth to buy. So it make that bulldog to be very useless. So he just there with the name. Everything, nobody recognizing him. The final ministry not recognizing him. They recognizing the other.
Is the final ministry or the executive, are they acting in compliance with the law?
No, for me personally, I have said it. I'm not scared of nobody in the world. The final ministry and whosoever that acting the way they acting is wrong. As per what the Supreme Court said, Otavara is wrong because that Congo is not a legitimate speaker. That is Nikun, right? Lofa,
yeah.
Lofa, your friend, that is Nikun.
Yeah.
Speaker. So for now,
my friend.
The problem here now is just it's so embarrassing, and they already managed to increase the embarrassing, right? You saw the fire situation that day, the way they asked to tell him that kind of a way they treat, and you can't treat a constituted authority that way. You saw the way that he felt as and it shouldn't be that way on a serious note. I mean, if you want to do things, Madam said, you should calculate her game. If she wanted a speaker she play the kind of way she would do it and go after it. But if you cannot get a man or get a number, and I don't know. And the guy stood is afraid to go on his face to do the thing. But the guy the number I don't want to do. But he's just there, the need on him there. And the only thing he in our office, I don't think he said he can go to work, but the fact that he stay there, and so to legitimize the other guy now, go, the one getting out, and to get him, man, other men said, "Oh, y'all got to maybe call all the F-50 airplane America guy, you got time all the things, and they can't grab me and carry me, and they can't. That's the one they can do. They don't, and they can't do it. So that's the war now.
But the thing is that you can't say that they can't do it because the people can do anything. So for me, I would just say,
you're right. They can do the other one. They can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
You get that when they go in the office, start putting all the
just put a team outside because the people are so they're so to that point.
Yeah,
and you
I believe they can do that.
You can't take it away and say, oh, they can't do it because
you're
right
right,
now,
man. You're right.
Like,
and they want to use something on Josh. They say they get rid to clear the place. They will just say that then they put the things in out. You're right. When they get close to that. But I hope the Supreme Court.
When you post somebody, you evicted somebody for your rule where you finish.
Yeah. I hope the Supreme Court come out, clear it to other people before you continue.
Lofa, do you think the Supreme Court going to rule different, Lofa?
Dr. Peabody, to be honest with you, I will tell you upfront right here, just like from the genesis of this entire thing, I stated how it was going to end out, and this is where we are. And I will say this again. The Supreme Court is not going to rule any different from what they did before. They would leave us in limbo. But here's what I want to say, right? And folks may say I am contradicting myself here, but I am serving as an instigator because I pray that all of those guys get kicked out of that place. I don't trust any one of them. So in this capacity, I serve as an instigator. Fanatif Kofa, don't move. Stay there. Let them bring every gun they have in the world to kick you out. And guess what? On the day of the state of the nation, go sit in the seat of the speaker. Nobody have the authority to move you from there. The reason why I'm making this recommendation is because neither side represents the interests of the people. To be honest with you, if you are to look at this entire process, after the passage of the budget, you notice how almost the noise went down a little bit. Only one person now you're hearing who is being outspoken about this entire process, and that is the speaker. Because now he feel like, okay, my reputation is on the line. My character is on the line. I said I would stand up for something. So, and with that, majority of the population stood with me. So I must maintain that position until something else is done. But other than that, this is not because these people have any good idea for Liberians. Both sides. It's all about their selfish interests. Bunch of greedy people who came together and strategized a way that they can put themselves at the forefront of the pew, where they will get the first share of the pie, and then the rest go to those of us who are the nobodies, the crust. That's how they're looking at it. So my recommendation to Fanatic Kofa is to do this. Don't allow them to bully you. Don't allow them to step on you. It is your constitutional right. Stay in office. And if somebody remove you or attempt to remove you from your office, the next day you come, break the door, go right back in that same office, sit there until they can bring the police or whoever to remove you.
So you're telling the man to destroy what capital building again?
No, I'm telling him, what the fresh group of people did it already. They broke the door. They did it before. They broke the door. Again, like I said, both sides have been very disgruntled in their activity. That's why I am on my knees every day praying to God. Hopefully 2025, there could be a reason for all of these guys. I know people say I'm being delusional in my thoughts because it would never happen. They all may not have to get kicked or would never get kicked out of there. But this is my prayer. I know very often people are not accustomed to seeing these kind of things happen, but the way they're going about things, hopefully God will bless some of us who have been praying religiously, who have not been of prayer warrior group and all of these things. Maybe he will listen to us and allow us, to just get rid of all of these guys and just revamp the entire system, because I don't see any one of them, with the exception of very few of them, that may be acting in the best interest of Liberian, but I can count those few. But just one.
Musa Bealded is one. For him.
Okay, yeah.
I'll vote for him.
Yeah, I'll give it to Musa Bealded. Yeah, I will give it to him. And to some extent, I'll give it to Yeke Koluba for his consistency, even though my brother Pewee would disagree with his approach.
And one reason I would disagree with him,
his approach, right? His approach,
right? You have been the number one hero in that place.
Thank you, right? You know, Yeke Koluba, Musa Hassan Bealded, and I don't know. Like I said, I can name them all with just one hand. Look, how I want you guys to think about this, right? Here we are sitting on the panel, right? We're talking about lawmakers, there were 70 some more of them. And you can't even name more than 10 legitimate lawmakers who are sincerely fighting in the best interest of Liberian. One would say it's probably because you don't know them. No, it's because they are not about the people's interest. And for that reason, I'd rather they just set up a time, sometime in West Point, go stand on the beach, fight whoever wins, you keep your spot, and then to go on from there, because they're not of much importance to me, because they're not doing the people's job. To be honest with you, I'm fed up with this nonsense. I don't even want to talk about this. It's a waste of my time. There are better things.
Well, you still talking about it.
Yeah, I'm talking about it because I don't want to, but I am compelled to talk about it because this is what we have to deal with. These guys are not in the best interest of Liberia, to be honest with you. And now stop at that note.
But all right, guys.
Johnny is not here.
I won't count small for Johnny. I would say I respect, although I wrote articles about Fanatic Kofa, he came a long way. You know, he went to Liberia, he changed his life, and he was able to sit in some positions. You know, although he's not a saint, but you know, he was in those positions. Like people choosing to be there. But these things happen across the world. Look. They had speakers that was in America here that were, you know, that people couldn't work with them. And the same thing happened to them. Some of them, you know, made a point and they resigned. I think he has reached a place, he has made his point. If he decides to leave now, it means that he will go into history that he made a point. But if these people who passing around, he would not resign, I feel sorry for you people. Then you don't even care about the country at all, because these things happen. It is not his legacy. He doesn't own that position. So he made his point. They wronged him. He made his point that Liberian people agree with him. It's a certain time that you have to let your shine. It's time for him to take a bow and walk out of this place after the ruling of the Supreme Court and tell the people, say, at least I did this for Liberia, for the next speaker to have a better chance. But everybody know what happened, and this is what it is. And you know, it would just be good for the country.
But Grace, you're saying after the ruling of the Supreme Court, right? The second ruling or interpretation, not even ruling anymore. It's much more of an interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Then I agree with that.
We know we'll go the same way. So he will come back and say he will not resign. So then it means that this is about yourself now. You're doing it for yourself. This is no longer about the law. It's no longer about the Liberian people. It's about you. You already made your point. You can't get back in that position. Even if you get back, they will not even respect you anyway. So you made your point. Take the shine. We agreed that the law was not a bye-bye. And you set a record. That record will remain in history. Think about your family and take a bow. Yeah.
Look, I think here is resigning to another group of corrupt people. I don't think I don't think he should resign. He should stand his course. I think from Speaker Kofa knows exactly that he's not going to be speaker again, but he's setting a precedent here. He's setting a precedent here that you don't just get up and do things like that illegally, like a speaker, and put him on. He's setting a precedent, and because in the past, everybody had just been saying, oh, you know what, for the sake of the country, Jerry resigned. The other criminal, are they there for the sake of the country as well? They sat on there and just on ability, just share with us the other day that these guys are already eating $400-something thousand that was due to the other people. They have eaten the money already. They went there. Finance Minister Garguah went there and gave these guys the money they requested, and he gave it to them. And the other money they have for the lawmaker, Yeke Koluba, other people, the police, they ate the money. And they cannot come back they can't give a gun. He said they were even going to file the case in the court. It's alleged that it ate almost $425,000. So then who should resign and put these criminals there? Just in the process, y'all going through some the crisis with the speaker. You already took people money and started eating it, stealing it, and then you want somebody to say they want to resign because of these kind of people. I won't do it. I know Speaker Kofa may not even want to be speaker, but they can't muster the courage to go back and stand before he and do it. I don't think he must resign. If I was Speaker Kofa, let him bring the caterpillar, put me in it, and then push me out of the place. That's the only way I would leave. Not for these crooks who sit there and take money. These guys are staying at RLJ. For the last 70 days, they have spent over $525,000 US, $500,000. They are staying there and wasting money. They have their own home. They give them, I believe, they give them housing allowance as the lawmaker. They get housing allowance, rent, and everything. And they are staying in a hotel, leave their home, go sit in a hotel, drinking with their girlfriend and stuff like that. Is that the kind of people because of a country sick? That why you would leave? Are they really there for the country? I don't think he should do it. I don't think it makes sense for him. I don't think for me. I don't think he should do it. Let him bring the caterpillar and haul me off. That's the only way I will get out.
Dr. Peabody, can I ask you a quick?
I like what come to the other issues, like the issues that Bealded just raised with us stealing the $500,000. So because they're still going in circle with this whole speakership position, all the other issues will be put aside. And that's what we are saying. We have to look at a bigger picture. I know that people will say, oh no, you're supposed to stay there. If you're in a position, you're useless in a position, how are you in that position? You're not getting that position pay anymore. They're not going to pay you speakership money. You're not doing any decision making as a speaker. None of those things happening. So when the white men say, let's do it for our country. That's some of the things you do for your country. I shine the light on this. This was evil. They went against the law, but at least they when people know it's time for me to take a bow. That's just what I'm saying.
So my question here though, and I want to throw this back. Pewee, Johnny, are you on? Johnny, are you on? Okay, so Pewee,
Go ahead.
Okay, so Johnny, I'm gonna pose. Excuse me, not Johnny, but Pewee, I'm gonna pose this question to you individually. If you were placed in Kofa's position, what would be your decision going forward? And I think Grace mentioned something very important here. She mentioned the fact that after the Supreme Court have rendered not decision but their clarification as to their the position that was taken going forward, what would be your position considering that you told the public that you were about the law, you were law abiding, and you simply wanted the law to be applied? Going forward, what would you recommend to the speaker to have done, considering everything that have happened over the year and the fact that you promised the people that you would be that one guy who would be used in history to stand up to say, hey, I stood against the rebels, as they are being referred to now, and I made sure that the law took its course. What would be your reaction? And Grace, you can also respond to that.
Yes, I think you disagree with me initially when I first called. Some time ago, I said, hey, the speaker was in the right. He was on the side of the law. But I think it was appropriate that he threw in the towel so the country can move and can function, right? And I said this before, and I still came back. I was not contradicting myself. The reason is that because I saw today, and I'm going to see it's going to end the way it's going to end. They're going to embarrass the country, the sport. Mm-hmm. Mr. Charles Taylor left from Liberia to go in exile, and eventually he was captured and prosecuted. He's now in jail. But his statement before leaving from Liberia was that he's leaving from the country because he wanted the people to enjoy peace. He didn't want to be the obstacle to peace in the country. That's part of the reason why, for me, I mean, the speaker, I believe, so far he's on the side of the law, and he will continue to say he's on the side of the law. But being on the side of the law, if that is bringing problem to the people of our country, I will urge him, Mr. Speaker, there will always be another battle to fight. And that's what I said the last time. True, in this issue, you are a professional man. You are a trained lawyer. You can survive in Liberia. You have a very great law firm in the country and other businesses you have. You are an important figure in the country. You don't have to allow the thing to drag to the end. Because by it dragging to the end, and sometimes when I give my position sometimes, I have to be maybe clear people supposed that what's going to end, because at the end of the day, if you push they're going to start fighting him to do all kind of things. Trust me, Lofa, you're going to see it soon. You're going to start hearing he did this thing before and bring all those things that the government, the African kind of a government. The fact that they will see him sitting as a speaker and doing business with somebody that is not considered a legitimate speaker is troubling. And they will persist on this issue. For me, eventually, if I hear you after the Supreme Court Monday, if the court, and I want to agree with you quickly, the court may not be clear also on Monday, on the 10th. I want to believe the court may not be clear. So will you again say I want to start the law?
All right, Pewee. So 1 second, and I think Ben Sanvee just joined us. He's on the phone. I would like him to contribute. Grace, I know since you're on the show, he's driving, so that's how.
Ben will disagree with me. I know.
You know he had to kind of
yeah. Ben would disagree with me. I know this.
Okay, but hold on. Let me
go ahead.
Sorry, I've been listening to the show. I'm trying to see if I can rush, if I can get home early.
Okay, so yeah.
The second half.
Okay,
but I wanted to contribute. I thought it was a fascinating discussion you guys were having. I was listening to Grace. I listened to Pewee a few minutes ago. But I think there's a little bit of contradiction in both of them. I think even you at some point, Lofa. Let me state where my difference is. Right? One, the Bill of Info, and I didn't even know this. So Pewee just broke some news. I didn't even know that the Supreme Court had already made a determination to hear the Bill of Information, right? So which is a good thing, because it could come to a finality right after the Bill of Information, because there is no way what the Bill of Information is going to do, right? The Bill of Information is pretty much just saying, Supreme Court, the first ruling you gave us, nobody understood it.
Yeah.
So what we need you to do is to please state it in black and white and say, they're person wrong, they're person right, or this is what happened, these guys were illegal or they were not illegal, whatever the situation is, right? And let me say this: listening to, I heard Pewee also use Charles Taylor as a reference. Oh, that's a great example. But let me tell you what Charles Taylor did, and this is exactly what Fonati Kofa is doing, right? Fonati Kofa is not saying that the speakership is his inheritance. No, Charles Taylor. You remember when George Bush said Charles Taylor should leave Liberia? He said, before anything, Mr. Taylor must leave, right? Right. That's what George Bush said. Everybody expected that one morning we were going to get up and Charles Taylor was just going to be gone. Everybody expected that maybe in the middle of the night, they were going to take him out of Liberia. What did Charles Taylor say? He said, no, there has to be an orderly transition. Yeah. The peacekeepers have to arrive. The national legislature has to convene. I will have to turn over power to my vice president. And that is what Charles Taylor did. Yes, he did it in the interest of the country. He said, because I don't want another person.
Ben, can the speaker come out quickly? Ben, quickly. Ben.
Hold on,
Ben, 1 2 seconds. Can the speaker come out, Ben, and say, have a new election, I will step down?
The issue, with that being said, the issue of Taylor, Taylor resigned through the constitutional process. He did not just kowtow. He didn't do like what Bashar Assad did. Let me just use that because that's the latest example. We woke up one morning, we heard it say Bashar Assad were already in Russia, right? Grace talked about the issue of other people in this country, in the U.S., McCarthy, all these guys. You know the difference between what happened to those people? 100 members of the United States Congress did not go sit down in the boulevard, in the Capitol Grill Hotel and said, we're having another session to remove the speaker. What they did, they went through the process and they said, and then McCarthy said, you know what? I have lost the confidence of my colleagues, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in the towel. And what ended up happening? There was a speaker election. You heard Musa Bealded on this very show. Musa Bealded has pretty much been the spokesperson for the minority bloc. He was very clear. I think they all have gotten to the point where I think Kofa has all but recognized the moment 40-something people come out and say, oh, they don't want you to hold the gavel anymore. The game is a game of numbers. The issue here is doing it the right way. So I would just say this, just to allow you guys to continue until once I get home, I will try to see if I can hop on. This issue is not about him keeping it as an inheritance. It's about us not always doing this thing in Liberia about let's just leave it because in the interest of the people. What could be more in the interest of the people than people following the law? What would be more in the interest of the people? That's why I agree with the final statement from everybody. I think let's wait to hear what the Supreme Court is going to say on this bill of information. If they provide the clarity, if they come and say everything the members of the the majority bloc is doing is legal, I think Kofa should resign. But if they come and say what they're doing is illegal and they should go back, they should go to the process, and through that process, the William Musa ability said, there is a transition already in place. Lastly, finally, my lastly, right over my lastly is it's ironic that everybody is calling, or at least they are calling it speaker, right? But guess what they're also doing?
Mm-hmm.
They're asking for Fonati Kofa to resign. So how do you correlate the two? How do you say you already have a speaker, but you're forcing the other one to resign? Well, so there's a state of confusion. So I think I agree. We wait to hear what the Supreme Court has to say. But Ben, I think the issue is to stick by the law.
Ben, before you close up though, let me ask you, what is your expectation from the Supreme Court? You often speak of the Supreme Court and her contribution to precedence, right, exactly. So what is your expectation?
My expectation is that they will be very clear. Because let's be fair, right, to the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court have not deviated from her previous rulings. The Supreme Court said the actions of the majority is ultra-virus. The problem we have here is politics came into play. The Attorney General interpreted it the way he wanted to interpret it. I believe the Supreme Court will come up. Maybe they may not use the word ultra-virus this time. Maybe they will say illegal, or maybe they will find another terminology. But in the end, I think there may be a logical and legal conclusion to the end of this problem.
You think you think they will be clear? You think they will be clear this time around?
So let me not put my nigga in the lamp because
how can he think that?
But I will
he cannot think that.
I will hope that they are clear because at the end of the day, you got the sonar coming up, Lofa.
Right.
You got a lot of things coming, or you got a illegal budget. Do you know why the president have not even signed the budget?
Ben, we'll get to that. That's the next thing I was going to push for our discussion. All right.
Let's go ahead, guys. Let's
Grace.
Let's talk about. Let's. Nobody wants to say something.
I was going to say for Grace to respond to the question I asked, and then you can take over that.
Go ahead.
What I think is that the way they carry on the voting into power of the other speaker was totally wrong. I think Kofa should put in a stipulation that, you know what, I will resign after the Supreme Court comes back with the definition, the clear definition of what it means. But we have to have a re-election for the right speaker to be voted in the right way.
Exactly. And
he could put in that stipulation. We will respect that, but this has been going on too long. Look, our people they're hungry, the children need to go to school.
Is Kofa the one holding up? Is Kofa the one holding up the other folks? He's not the one holding.
No, I'm not saying he's holding up the other folks, but he could put that as a stipulation that, although this is happening, they can't work with me. Okay, we understand, and still he don't feel that they have the vote to vote him out. But he could say that he won a new elections for them to vote the right way.
Well, that's why he had called for.
He could put that in. What we're saying is that the back and forth, those things is Liberia is not a regular normal country, so we don't want it because the back and forth have cost us our capital building. That crime could be level on Kofa here because he not in it. The people could say, oh, they don't want, and they already saying that people are being investigated right now. So what is the need for all of this when you can have a stipulation in? They can go back and forth in the right way and put the right speaker into power. And Kofa can take up power. He will be remembered in history. History will remember this man for the stance that he took. But sometimes when you made a right to or a right, they can become wrong. That's just
I don't think for me, we're going to move on. I don't think for me, whether history remember me or history don't remember me, I think history should remember the Constitution. And I think what step that Kofa have taken is the right step. That's the right thing he should do. If the Supreme Court come and say, hey, it is this way, Kofa, you got no point. The majority is the majority and this, then I'm sure he'll be ready to resign at that point. He always said that they can go right back into the House And if 49 people come and say we don't want you, he's definitely willing to walk off. He can even recuse himself from there, and he's going to move on. But guys, we got to move on. Let's
Peabody, quickly. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but your other panelist is not in line. Abu say he wants to try. You guys want to give you a minute?
Yeah,
All right, Abu, go ahead. I'll give you a minute, 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks to the remaining panelists. I regret my absence here today, but I just wanted to say something quickly. Representative Bealded on last week came on the show. This week, I think on New Year Eve, he came on the show. He said he hearing that the other block have phone 500K. He did not say the money has been eaten. He said he's hearing. So that the people, the man did not say the money has been eaten.
Well, you can hear when somebody talks to you.
So that's it. So that's
alleged.
So that's the justification. I would use looking to justify this. That's it.
But the majority block has not eaten the money.
Where is it? Where is the money, Abu? If they are not eating the money, where is it?
Representative Bealded said he's hearing. He did not say the money has been eating. He said
Okay.
He's hearing.
All right. Thanks for the clarification.
He said it is alleged. Did I not say alleged?
Right.
It was alleged.
So Abu, when they wanted us to believe that the majority block still got the money saving somewhere.
Then where is it?
Why is it?
Go ahead with your show. Go ahead with your show,
So
brother.
they have it. I mean, let's get onto this topic here. I'm reading.
Go ahead.
They say Unity Party is mad because people are creating all kind of T-shirts and hats and selling it using President Bouaka and stuff like that. What do you guys think about that? Let me read. I can just read one paragraph of it. It says the ruling party has issued a stern warning against what it describes as troubling rise in unauthorized use of President Joseph Yuma Bouaka senior image, calling it a step toward sarcophagic idealization of the presidency. The party, in a press statement issued Friday, noted that such attribute is a hallmark of the past administration, which it vowed to avoid. So, what do you guys think about it? People printing stuff and using it. What do you got? President Bouaka, the president, there's nothing he can do about it.
Are you kidding me? So the picture what the Katimu Baka picture the printer on the bed sheet to the clinic that was waiting. She never knew her picture was going to be printed on or bed sheet, the bed sheets that were going to go to that clinic, and knowing that patients then would be at that clinic that don't support her husband, don't support this government. How would they even be able to lie down in their pains or affliction at that time? You know, they can't do that. They always will do these things and then they come and start to come by and act like they're doing damage control. Whatsoever needs the president needs, the president picture in his name is on a backpack. He condemned that in it for the last government. So they're just doing the same exact thing. So the trophies, they never knew that President Bouaka picture was going to be on this thing. Then in my mind, they knew because people there went to go represent him at that point in time. So they can't come and say they're doing damage control. This is just a shame. You know, in this 21st century, where do you see that people start to put their pictures on stuff like that, especially when they're in position? They're supposed to be doing these things. They're being paid to do it. It's government, you know, money, resources that's making these things to happen. And you put your picture on there and you think your country will be considered seriously. It will not be considered seriously. So they need to start doing damage control, and they need to go back into the meetings and sit on the table and discuss how they can stop this nonsense from happening. Because we are just tired with the same old every day. The people voted this government in to do better. So we expect them to do better. We expect them to do better.
Lofa.
Hey, you know, Dr. Peabody, let me tell you what the Unity Party is known for, and they're very good at it. Deception. Often when I reference the UP as a bunch of deceptive, wannabes, pretender, they play smart, but they are not smart. You know, there's a difference between being smart and playing smart. That's where they find themselves. They're a bunch of wannabes. They have realized that, guess what? The public is now being very resentful. They're upset the public outburst from these actions is now leading them to act in the way they're acting. They're not acting because they understand governance. That's not the case. This is much more like a knee-jerk reaction. Oops, the people did not like it. We forgot that we accused President Weah of doing these same things, not knowing we had no agenda, we had no idea as to how we could govern void of these same behaviors, having to buy into the sentiment, the emotion of the people. We had no idea how we could do that. So when the people started to react in a much more negative way with the help of the social media influence and the media in general, they started to realize, oh, you know what? Maybe we should start to do something different. It's not that they're against it. These are the same people who are doing these things. Why in the world? You, like Grace rightfully said, are you telling me the First Lady visited a hospital where they were making the donation without her knowing what was being done? So she wasn't informed as to the fact that they were actually printing her pictures on all of those beddings and putting them out there. The trophies. President Boycott and the rest of his entourage should stop making mockery of the system and thinking that we are all a bunch of just no-nos. We would just sit and buy into any nonsense that is said from the executive mansion as though we are just ready for Liberia to burn, like he promised to have done had he not won the election. This is nonsense. Nobody in their right mind should sit and believe that President Boycott and the entire Unity Party is not a part of this nonsense. They actually masterminded this. They are now trying to walk away. They want to take the credit. In the case of, as it is often said, and let me use this analogy to describe the action, they want to eat their cake and still have it. No, it doesn't work both ways. You will not fool our people. The same thing he did. This old man told us in about 100 days, no car will be stopped. But guess what? He's using private jet to fly from Monrovia to Lofa County. He's not driving along the road. So it wasn't that's not his decision. That was something that was done based on someone's idea. You will think that in an attempt to show to the people that his government is working tirelessly to make sure that people are not experiencing bad road, he would have been the first person to model that action of having to drive from Monrovia to Lofa County. Unfortunately, fortunately for him, now that he's retiring with his huge retirement package that he's enjoying, he can fly from Monrovia to Lofa County and live luxuriously. Why Mamusu, Mary, Sarah, and other people have to hurt their back to go to Lofa County and bring pop or bring corns, bring peanuts, bring other things to Monrovia to sell, but President Boycott is flying in private jet. This is the man who believed in agriculture, world connection, and you think we're supposed to believe that? No, he is a part of it. I totally believe he's a part of it, and as a matter of fact, he's the mastermind of it. Thank you.
Sylvester.
Yeah. I think basically, government process I have tried to manage to observe, and I learned this from Madam Sirleaf. I heard this part coming up also from Mr. Taylor, and he was trying to refer to Madam Sirleaf. He said when you're in this seat, if they are not in the seat, they ought to not understand the complexity of and the convoluted nature of running government. Everything you see the Unity Party folks, and it's part of the reason why Mr. Weah didn't get re-elected. There was the Peabody, and there was barrage of negative propaganda against the CDC. Things that they criticized the Weah administration of not doing. Sometimes they would say Weah is putting his knee on all the projects, on billboards, on this thing, on rice, on that. And the same thing they criticized yesterday is what they are currently endorsing into. I mean, this is just counterproductive. So time to time, and for now to come up, because I believe it's going the way it's going, it's catching the public attention. They're trying to come and distance themselves from this. This is wrong, and what you got to own to it. I think Grace said something just now. I saw that yesterday. I think on New Year Day, there's trophy all on the, pictures all on those things. So you think who did that also? It's part of the disclaimer part of that issue. Also, I did disclaiming that they didn't do that, where he was in the presence of the president in Bombing County. So I think this is just a normal issue that they did before past government then the crazy. So they should be above all lines. To not even repeat those kind of things. So to distance themselves, I think there's kind of smart propaganda they're trying to do to shift the blame and the rest of that. But I think shame on them. They have to do more in trying to handle this situation than that's coming up and saying one thing over and again. You say you're going to change things and the same thing is going to come. We're going to see more of these things unfolding. More of them are going to come out. More of them will come out if it's come to the sense or to the realization that they're embarrassed. They're going to come and find a way to get out of it and try to do a kind of a deflection here and to deflect it as well, so that the Liberian people will focus on that while the process is unfolding. But it's just quite unfortunate.
Well, unfortunately, this brings us to another point. You know, one of the things that this government have talked about in the past is nepotism. And Grace wrote something in the chat room, which is true. It talks about the current finance minister, his brother. He's on the board of Legis. His brother has he's the director of Legit. And the brother wife also is working there and hold a very, very high position. And we're talking about a government who want to bring change. Garguah. Grace, you know the story. In fact, I can present the names of every one of them. And how can we talk about change in a country in Liberia? Well, these kind of things are happening. I mean, broad daylight. But we palm President. We are all along. He was the most dangerous man. He was bad. He was corrupt. His people were bad. But look what's happening in the government right now. Look what's happening. You know, Grace, you want to talk about? You know about that story.
The thing is not news to Liberians. I mean, this government have the government proceeded wrongly, and they are still going in the tracks, and that's the reason why I know this government is going to fail, because they don't even take responsibility of anything. You cannot criticize the government. The people mad with you. They will insult you. They will do all kinds of things. Like, it's just like water waste on dogs back. Who cares? We don't care. But our point is the care we care is for Liberia and Liberians. The common people that are suffering these things. But you talk about nepotism in your government when I know Guar was able to employ somebody that was related to him. I mean, they had a whole war of it. They said it over for weeks. They were talking against that. It was wrong. We actually had done that. But you got to understand that the they were talking about at that point in time, he never had any government experience. And he was voted into power because of popularity of football. So when these things were happening in his government, these were missteps that people talk against were not supposed to happen because he was supposed to step up to the program. It was wrong at that time. What made you think now that you put a government in and you said he was so competent, he stayed in government for 40 years, he served as vice president twice for two different terms in government, and come and doing the same old thing that majority of the people in his government are from Lofa County, and then when they get in position, then they hire their family members. Shame on Garguah. We didn't expect that for him to do that, and we don't expect that of anybody. That is just totally wrong. This is the service to the Liberian people. You cannot continue to run a government with tribal listing and family ties. It's not good for our country. They got other people that have the credentials, they have the experience, they have the technical know-how to sit in those positions. So when the people come and say that nepotism is taking over the government, you cannot even defend yourself because it has. And tribal listing is taking over the government. So this is where we find ourselves. But when people decided to vote on Myean that had no agenda, the only thing about him was that he served government, so he that was his time to sit in that seat, that he deserved that seat, and that was his time. Just like they say, somebody was in line here for position, and when one person get out, the other person time to sit down. So they may never had agenda. They said there was no agenda until last minute of time when they started copying for other people's agendas, other candidates in the race, and adding their when first a quick website and put it on the library, said they agreed. So this is what they agreed to. So it will come a time in the third year or fourth year of this government, we will see so families will be in government. They will all be related. Now, how to get those kind of people out, that would be the problem for Liberian people, so that it means that the country is going to digress. Except they will change their direction now in 2029 to let these people go and vote a whole new regime of people that had nothing to do with these two parties. I always say CDC and UP, because they are the devils that destroy Liberia to the core. I call them conjunct twins. They do everything according. They have no respect for the law. That's why we're going into what happening in the house today. They have no respect for the law of the country. They do what they want to do. There is no proper investigation in anything. When anything happens in the country, people can just die and go in vain. No persecution, no investigation. They don't owe the public any explanation. So these two group of people, except like stand the ground and say, you know what, this cannot be. Come 2029, you have to see tangibles. Things are being done. You have to see real credentials, not people paying money to be in position, because of what happened to the government. So many money were paid for people to be in position. That's why incompetent people sitting everywhere and they can't even do their job. And that's why now they're bringing in their family members to collect more government money. It's shame on Joseph Boakai government, shame on his integrity, shame on him as a leader who was in government for so many years. He never transformed any office that he was in. The people still gave him the opportunity to sit in the position, and he still cannot deliver to the country.
Yeah, look, before I bring Pewee on, then I go to Anthony. You know, as it stands, you know, the Minister of Finance automatically becomes the board chair for Liches. Okay. And his brother, Richard Garguah, as Director General of Liches. And to even make the situation worse, right? Richard Garguah appointed his wife, Joyce Garguah, as the director of external trade, you know, which is a department within Liches. Isn't this a nepotism? I don't know, tribalism, or what? How will you call it? I don't. But Pewee coming.
And again, it's just, I don't know. This part of it is here. So I would differ with my dear sister on this one, and this no, I'm not tying this into. I will take a little time on just say and I like. I mean, the point that we should work to stem these things all about society is very germane, and I like that. I like that aspect of what she's trying to bring out. But here's why I would differ with her, and I will give a justified reason why I'm differing with her. You started something, but let me move to end it. Now, as per the law of the country, nepotism is where you have the powers of the power. You're in authority and appointing someone in that authority, in that same institution, giving them both job. Then you've been nepotistic. But with the Garguah situation here, it's a statutory process. Liches, the Minister of Finance, even if Grace or to be appointed tomorrow Minister of Finance, she's going to be on the board of Liches. Now, it just happened to be a coincidence that his brother is appointed there as the Director General of Liches. And the Minister of Finance will be on the board of Liches. It's a statutory position that he's serving as Minister of Finance. When he's not there tomorrow, the next minister will be on the board also. And then that's the process. So the president, Joseph Boakai, appointed Garguah as Minister of Finance. The same president also, before even appointing Garguah as Finance Minister, appointed his brother, Richard Garguah, as Liches boss. So that is not nepotistic here. It's the person that is doing the appointment. That's one. Now, Richard Garguah's wife, been working with Liches years before Richard Garguah was appointed. We've had similar debate before in the country as to even most of those institutions in the country will do this political neutrality and this family ties process that husband and wife cannot be appointed as director of this, or the husband cannot appoint his wife, but his wife been working in the institution before the husband was appointed. That's the problem here. I don't know if they're going to fit into this process, but he didn't appoint his wife. I need our audience to follow this process very clearly. And Richard Garguah did not appoint his wife as director. No. She worked with Liches before his appointment in that institution. And then his brother didn't appoint him to that position. No. So Liches Director General was appointed by the President of the Republic. Richard Garguah is the Director General. Garguah happened to just be Coincidentally, the Minister of Finance that will have to serve on the board.
Coincidentally.
Yes. That will serve on the board of legends. Listen, I'm not playing a role to be a spokesperson for them, but if I don't do this and I know it, fellow intellectual will say, Pewee, you should have clarified this process. And I'm doing the clarification. I agree with the passion our dear sister got. We all got the same passion. But again, no people are finding will say, we've got from Lofa and Lofa thing. No, not because of Lofa thing on the serious note. It is because I'm explaining it because the president appointed the both of them. None of them appointed them. Gav didn't appoint his brother as Director General of Legis. No. Richard Gaffon, who is the head of Legis, didn't appoint his wife. She was the director in that institution before the husband was appointed. He's a very good statistician, right? So he served before as Assistant Minister for Labor for Statistics, right? So he's good. So basically in that area, there was a recommendation even during the weird time they should carry him there. So they just appointed him, and then his brother was staying in Uganda, serving as the head of the African Development Bank, country director office for the African Development Bank in Uganda. So his appointment he was the first to be appointed by Joseph Boakai at the beginning of the administration in January of last year. So,
but do you see the optics though? Do you see the optics?
Well, I mean,
yeah. For now, the optics as it will come out. I want to believe folks need to come.
That's a major conflict of interest there. I don't know how anyone would defend it. It's a major.
No, I come in at that Peabody. Let me put this to you. Your wife is working in and we have most of those kind of a situation here, right? In an institution, there's a defined policy on nepotism and favoritism in terms of many institutions, both worldwide, but even here. I don't want to concentrate here. That concentrate on our own issue. There's a defined policy on those one. In, for instance, in the GSC, they got the political neutrality and they got what we call the conflict of interest kind of a way of operating institutions. So I cannot be the Auditor General of GSC and appoint a relative of mine to be director or to allow them work in a sensitive area. No. That is a violation of the political neutrality aspect. Not, apart from that, the family bond contract. But in the case of the Director General of Legis, he didn't appoint his wife. So he's there as the head of institution. Now, there's nothing in the law of Legis that provides that his wife should resign because the husband was appointed. That's a political job.
So
he may be dismissed tomorrow.
Are we fighting the laws because the laws were not even followed in the Capitol building? So that's the reason why they're going inside.
That's a smart move.
So we're fighting the laws.
That made a point I want to make today.
The president this is the president issue. When you work in government in this country, the people ask you when you go fill up an application, do you have any family member that work within this institution? They ask you that question. There's a reason why they ask you. So what is wrong with Joseph Boakai? Something that the man is not really there.
So can I Dr. Peabody?
But
yeah, but again, it didn't kind of conflict. So I just thought to explain, but again, it left with them. But in terms of nepotism, there were I beg to differ there because there's nothing nepotistic because he didn't appoint his wife and he didn't appoint his brother. So the president did appoint the both brothers in different government institutions, but as per the law of Legis, the funder, minister of funder, and then even director general of Legis is secretary to the board of the board. So it's a statutory board established as per the law. So that's why I thought to clarify. But again, yeah,
let me bring Anthony on.
Nepotism is still deep in our society, and I agree we should work to stem it. My dear sister, I agree on that clearly. Though the incoming president of the United States said he loved nepotism.
Well, let me bring Anthony
the guy on. The guy said he liked it.
Let me bring Anthony on. Go to
he appointed
if you have the finance minister, chairman of the board, his brother is the director, the wife is another director. Then she has a best friend there as a deputy for administration. Look, Anthony, come on, let's talk about this.
No, listen, I know you want hold on, there are people. The wife is not in a presidential appointed position. The position the wife is in is not a presidential appointed position. No, that is a ranking position within the institution. That is a civil servant position. She's in. It's a civil servant position she in. She can not just be dismissed arbitrarily, but he can be dismissed on the basis of the president wake up tomorrow morning and say, I don't want to see that guy there. The president get dismissed arbitrarily. He served at the will and pleasure of the president. She does not serve at the will and pleasure of the president. Go ahead.
Well, the president will not be dismissed because he's from Lofa.
Well, ethically.
So, good evening, everyone, and
Yeah, maybe
good
the ethical
evening,
position I may agree with you on that.
Just
one.
Grace,
Ethically,
been a long
probably,
time.
yeah,
You and I shared a platform on Bridge Radio a couple of times. Good evening to our followers and listeners on the radio. Look, Pewee, let me refresh your brain again. Not your brain, your mind. I'm sorry, I'm not to say the word. Poetry is a word. Article 5. Every article of the Constitution is as important as the other one. Every single one of them. There is a reason why Article 5 is in the Constitution. There is a reason why the rule of law must be followed. There is a reason why the Constitution itself, Article 2, second paragraph, also talked about any statute, law, or resolution, act that is not in conformity of the Constitution is null and void. None of these things, what legislators have this one, the other sector of government has this one. The Constitution clearly spoke about nepotism. The Constitution also says the cabinet of the president should resemble the country. That means each person within a county has to be part of the cabinet of the president. Article 5 spoke about that. You came here the other time and justified that Lofa County has 6 different tribes when the Constitution did not talk about tribe, it talked about the reflection of the country, meaning the 15 counties of the country should be represented within the cabinet. That is minister proper, not deputy or assistant minister, but minister proper should be represented. President Bouaka, then Kennedy Bouaka, vowed to the Liberian people that his cabinet will reflect the country, that each county will have a minister proper in his own word, a minister proper in his government. He did not do so. Currently, as we know, 17 of his cabinet members come from Lofa County. 17. Not 3, not 4, not 5, but 17 of those people. Now, you used the word just not coincidentally, right? That was not a coincidence. Appointment is not a coincidence. It is a process that has vetting and all of the different things. In other words, there is a job interview here, right? You have to look at this person and a resume, that connection, and all of that different things. Already his wife is there. They already know his wife is there. The brother now also appointed as the finance minister, who having to be a board member on a committee, and his wife also serving there. He cannot be appointed there. It's not the only place in government. If that is the only career he has, then unfortunately somebody else has to take it. But again, you must spread the pie. It can't just come from one household. It can just come from one county. It can just come from one group of people. And we sat here and allow our lawmaker to go to work, pass a law to say we can draft on a tailing. We know that there's no such thing called tailing. They are killing people doing that tailing thing. Nobody has challenged it because, quote unquote, it's a law. But it also violates the Ministry of Transport under the Division of Motor Vehicle laws. Right? But for the sake of country, people will say, oh, let's do it for the sake of country. How far can we do this for the sake of country thing when people continue to violate the rule of law? JLB intentionally rubbing in our faces when he went ahead and brought yellow machine to the country without following the PPCC compliance. And guess what? This new unconstitutional budget that have been passed.
And Anthony, let's stick with the topic on the discussion like
right.
for now. Let's stick
So
with that. Let's focus on that for now.
So that whole employment saga, what or not, one is working at the will of pleasure of the president, and the other isn't working at the will of pleasure of the president. They all work for one entity called the government of Liberia. And the Constitution does not apply to just one sector of the government. It applies to all sectors of government. Whether autonomous agency or non-autonomous agency, the Constitution applies to each and every Liberian. And so I want to make that point clear, Mr. Pewee. And in this life here, you know, we can all sit here and put a spin around a thing and speak eloquently about a thing and be passionate about something. That doesn't make it right. We can intellectualize the discussion. That still doesn't make it right. He's not the only competent Liberian that can serve in that role. There are other competent Liberians. Any of them member already in that role? So if there should be a circumstance where a decision has to be taken, will he take it against his wife? Will he take it against his brother? I mean, you're thinking about this now.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Well, Dr. Peabody, you're back, so I'll let you take over.
It's your turn.
Oh, okay. So Pewee, purposely, what I did was when you were addressing the issue of nepotism, right? What I did, I quickly Googled nepotism. That's what I did. I just did that, and I'm going to read verbatim what is written in Google, and hopefully we can actually speak to it now. And the reason I did this is just to highlight a few things, because the law as it applies in Liberia may be a little different, but just the mere Google or interpretation speaks to why people will frown at the decision that is being made before we even bring it in our professional settings, right? It states here, the Google definition says, the practice among those with power or influence. Again, I read that. The practice among those with power or influence of favoring relatives, friends, or associate, especially by giving them jobs. Okay? It's clear. Now, what does that say to us? The whole issue of whether Ngafwan's wife or immediate relative was in a position prior to his recommendation. This is where the issue of leadership comes into play. You will think that President Boykai, in his wisdom of being in government for several years, would have taken into consideration the decision. Look, should I honestly pull the plug on this right here? How does it look? The optics of it. How would the rest of the world in a country where our people have cried about nepotism, okay? Our people have cried about corruption. All of these things are happening today. How does it play out? How do our people, or how would our people react? Unfortunately, none of these things were taken into consideration, and now we are attempting to justify the action. There is no way to justify the decision on the part of President Boykai. And the reason why that is almost, it's indefensible is because Ngafwan, to some extent, will have to have that interaction. And his wife could influence decisions in so many ways. Anthony referenced something that I also want to highlight here. Aren't there any other Liberian that could occupy that position? But does that also state that because there are other qualified or competent Liberian, this lady who is a relative to Ngafwan should also be denied? Should also be denied the position of Ngafwan? Should be. I see you wiggling your finger as though you want to say no. There aren't other qualified Liberian to occupy.
No, I want to fool Lofa.
Oh, okay. No, and I will give you an opportunity, because when it comes to the position of the finance ministry, right, it appears as though people often look to see this guy who is eloquent in his deliberation, but we don't look to see the success from the work. Your output is what qualifies me, in my understanding, per my view. Okay, through my short professional, endeavors, what I have come to understand is simple. I don't quantify or qualify a person's performance based on their high school, college performance, the job performance. What you do at the job is what qualifies you for promotion. It qualifies you for rate increase in your salary or whatever it is. And that's where we introduce the KPI, the key performance indicator. It tells us how you have performed and how we determine your next step. In this case, President Boycott, if I'm to score his performance, he just scored 0 because he did not think. And here we are now, people trying to justify his action. Garguah, on the other hand, and I'll close on this note, was just saying on the social media, celebrating a handful of people accepting him as the Minister of the Year. And here we are again. This is embarrassing for a country that is looking to progress. We have brilliant Liberians. Let us stop behaving as though they don't exist. It's sad. And in closing, I think I sense some level of nepotism in this entire process. I close on that note.
And that means, and the part of the reason why I differ with the position of my dear sister, and that's a very wonderful point to strike here. And I will come back again to look at some of the, and I said, when Peabody brought a point, I'm saying ethically, I will agree with her. Now, in terms of appointing, right? He didn't appoint his brother, but ethically, yes, one of the, particularly for the issue about, he's the chairman of the board, and he's not going to be supervising his brother. I mean, it's difficult to score your loved one if you're in a position of power. Then go back to Richard Garguah's own wife. She's a director there. He's a director general. If Mrs. Garguah were to slip professionally, who's going to recommend Mrs. Garguah? Or let's say there's some disciplinary action and she didn't act well, the HR were to investigate. Will the HR director be free to do a independent investigation on the work of the director general? So ethically, there with me, I will have some issue. And I also join. That's why I will not be totally disagree. But when it comes to those kind of positions where she serve, you're going to supervise your wife. When you look in the face of your wife and say to her, darling, you didn't do the other thing. I think you're gonna. When you issue a
that's a good one. That's a good
you are hereby
suspended. Oh, wait, come here, sleep in the couch.
You are hereby suspended for 3 months without pay. Come on.
That's a good one.
That's the reason why you get better in that area.
No, I agree with her when it comes to that. That aspect, it's a very hard game. And I want to believe it's part of the reason ethically in other private sector areas in the world, in some government areas, sometimes institutions, people will say you can have your loved one. I mean, there could be a discussion behind the scene. Say, darling, yeah, since I'm the boss here, I think it'll be hard time you resign. Yeah, but the optics of the process of the ethical side.
Pewee, just have her move to another government agency.
Different government position.
Yeah, move to another government agency.
There can be negotiation now in the process to say, okay,
that's true. That what should be done.
There could be negotiation. When I come on the show, man, don't be putting your feet behind the seat.
Pewee, that's the only reason I came on the show was because of that particular issue. I decided not to come on the show today, but because he said that struck me. But here is it, but I am.
Oh, you not speak the thing. I'm talking. I'm feeling you take it. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
No, go ahead. Why you cover your camera? Come on.
Go ahead.
No, I got somebody here, so I don't want to.
Ben was going to be in business today.
No, I got somebody here, so I don't want to make sure everybody's safe. So, but I'm happy that you were able to clarify some of the issues, and that is the reason why when you go for employment, that's one question they always ask you on most of the job. Do you know anybody who's working at this job? The reason behind that question is to erase these kind of it's to erase these kind of ethical issues, because they don't want you to say, oh, John Brown, and that could be an issue of conflict of interest. This thing got all of the characteristics of a conflict of interest, and for the president not to have known this, now speaks to him as a manager. Like, because you are hiring people into these roles, how will you not know who you're hiring and who is there? And for all purposes, we all criticize Judge Weah. I am a crewman from Grand Crew, but we all know how convoluted this past government were with a lot of people from the Southeast. We criticized that thing because it was wrong. Why will you come and even do more than what was expected? But one thing I can say that I would give it to Judge Weah, none of his immediate family member was anywhere close to his government. That's one thing we can give to him. None, absolutely none. But again, the last thing that I would say here, I heard some of Lofa was saying, let's allow Kofa for the sake of the for the sake of the country. This is what I would say to everybody who says that. Why are we complaining about all of these other issues? Let's just leave it and let the bracket run this government for the sake of the country. Let's stop borrowing the old man. Let the old man run this country. Because if you love Liberia, just stop. Let's stop these criticisms. Because all Kofa is doing is standing up for the right thing. And I think that is admirable. That's what all of us should want to see people do in our country, and not to discourage people from doing the bad things. Thank you.
Oh God!
If I can take a stop on that Kofa issue because I didn't get a chance.
Anthony, don't take us back, man. Don't do that. We got other things. Anthony, don't take us back, bro. We got to go forward.
You want to contribute, and then maybe Lofa, we can take some calls.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I was was hoping we'd take some calls.
Anthony, go ahead, and then we can take some calls. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you guys, man.
Sixth grade.
Benjamin, so you got key into okay, brother. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, just keep the CEO. See you guys later.
I heard everybody except for Dr. Peabody who said no, the speaker should not resign. Look, let me say this. I think many people just see as though this is Speaker Kofa trying to be tough. You don't want to, resign because he just won the speakership. This is beyond Speaker Kofa. We got 28 lawmakers, for God's sake, who are also supporting him in this process. We should not lose sight of that as well. He's not the only person fighting for this rule of law. We got 28 elected officials like him fighting and saying to him, do not resign. Why? The lawlessness for too long in our nation has been the way of life. And nobody is held accountable for anything. Something happened, they say, my man, Liberia Team, man. That thing was soon done. This is the first of its kind. Maybe I need to be corrected. But in my whole life, knowing myself about Liberia, I have never heard such thing where something of this caliber has happened. That a man will stand up and say, you know what? Enough is enough. Many others who had a situation, they came in, they resigned. He's the first speaker who stood up for the rule of law. And the Supreme Court that was also birthed out of the Constitution of Liberia will not sit here. If they are to interpret the law more clearer than what it is right now, I can predict it will be in the favor of the rule of law, backing the Constitution, which is already on the side of Kofa. They will not go against the Constitution because then it will undermine their own existence as a Supreme Court. Because it is what it is, we should all hope that the rule of law, in the absence of the rule of law, my people, you cannot have any functioning nation. America is not preferable, and other developed nations aren't preferable either. But guess what is carrying this country? The rule of law. It is the rule of law that got this country moving the way it is moving, that got this democracy over 200 years old moving. It is the rule of law that got us going. Imagine a Liberia without a rule of law. We already have rule of law. People are not following it and looking like that. If you take away the rule of law, do you know what will happen? People will walk up to people's houses and do whatever they want to do to them and walk scot-free. Look at what is happening right now in the nation, where we have so-called investigation upon investigation, and no one is held accountable. Even to those one who commit crime, they take to something before you make a man 1 month, 2 months, they disappear from the jail. Nobody know where to go. How can we have a nation like that? One last thing I want to close with is that if the Supreme Court decide that, you know what, we will just cut it to the chase and say, you know what, Kofa should resign, and he's not right. It will not be Kofa any longer. It will be the Liberian people. There are many other millions of Liberians out there just waiting to see if the Supreme Court will just cross the line and do the obvious and say, you know what, it's okay now, we'll tie that for the sake of this country, for peace, Kofa should resign. The people who will stand up in that country, it will surprise a lot of Liberians.
Anthony,
and I want to challenge the Supreme Court to do the right thing, get a more clearer interpretation next time.
Anthony, the Supreme Court is not is not clothed with that responsibility. They will only do the interpretation, which, in other words, they will explain what they understand. They cannot give you.
Yeah, but they use a term ultra-violent,
right? They did, and that was a part of their explanation or their view on what transpired. So I don't think we should expect them, like I said from the Genesis, that we should not expect them to come up and say, hey, Kofa Group, you this way, you did it. It's not going to happen. But if it happens, that's what it is. Dr. Peabody, I can open the phone lines right now. All right, let's take some calls. Folks, folks been calling me, but I was on here. So now it's 919-324.
About 8 o'clock, yeah.
All right, 6828. Guys, that's the number. The number to call is 919-324-6828. Let's hear from you guys. 919-324-6828 is the number to call and chime in on the conversation. If you've been following, that's what it is. Let's hear from you. Somebody, but by the way, while we're waiting for people to call in, Dr. Peabody, hopefully we can chime in on this particular topic. Recently, a couple things happened. One of the things, one of the most recent one. I want to start with the decision on the part of President Boycott to fly. Okay, we got a caller here. Let's take this caller here.
Oh boy, that's another whole issue there.
All right, caller. Let's hear from you. Your name and where you calling from?
Hey, this is Gabriel Johnny calling from Ohio.
Mr. Johnny, let's hear from you, boss man.
Okay, with the issue of the government, forming the government, Joseph Walker know what he's doing. You see, during President Weah's time, the southeastern region contains a lot of counties. And besides southeastern region, all the other counties have people there. You have the foreign affairs minister from Lofa County. You have people from key positions from different areas. It's not only Grand Crew. Jallah from Grand Crew. Jallah is not from Sando. Jallah is not from River G. Jallah is not from Maryland. Jallah is not from Riverside. Jallah is not from Grand Bassa. Jallah is not from Lofa. Jallah shared the position to nearly all the counties. Lofa County was dominating in government. But Boycott is, he literally knows what he's doing. He literally giving position to look in. That's very bad. That's very cruel to the country.
Mr. Jagne, let me ask you a quick question. Since a lot of people are not calling though, but one can also make the case that Lofa also constitute of different tribes. So is it fair for one to say then that the President Boycott is being fair because he actually distributing the job among people from Lofa County but of different tribal lineage?
So when you go by tribe, you want to spoil the whole issue because.
Well, now I'm asking you because based on your previous statement, though.
Liberia has 15 counties. If you say you want to do it by tribe, you're going to spoil the whole issue. The constitution is the tribe.
Okay.
They said the region, the position to be shared evenly according to what the subdivision.
Thank you. Thank you, boss. All right. Thank you, Buzzman. That takes us next caller here. Caller from 414, last for 7856. Let's hear from you. Your name and where you calling from. River says, bro. Let's hear from you, Buzzman.
Yeah, you know, I don't call you often, but
I know.
let me just listen quick. What I got saying over there.
Uh-huh.
I think it's more regional than I mean, Lofa is just a county, but he was talking it's region versus county. So even if you got 15 tribes, that's just one county, but we're talking about region where they have almost 3-4 counties that make on a region. But anyway, I was just kidding. But Lofa, my main point has to do with the outbreak of fire in Liberia. You know,
Good.
it is so shameful, Lofa. It is so embarrassing that you know, I made a little comment about I don't want us to be like the United States. We cannot, or at least there's up to 2 to 3 fire trucks per block. I'm talking about block, not I ain't talking about neighbor. I ain't talking about local, but just block. So we expect, look at with all the budgetary, all those money to get in. I know somebody say, oh, we don't allocate budget for fire truck. But Jesus Christ. I mean, look at the fire outbreak when I was growing up, look at houses were burning once in a while, maybe a whole year you have one house burning. And it was on the old weather bus, all those my houses and three houses were. But now look I see solid concrete houses. That's what's scaring me, bro. We have solid concrete houses burning like joke. And you know, finally, and I made a post today, Lofa, and what was what touched my heart, a friend of mine who went to school together, bro. This is an educator guy. This guy came on the post and asked me, so what is your contribution? And I'm talking about fire truck, though. But my friend who supports United Party came to attack me, and I'm speaking on his behalf. I wasn't just talking about Joseph Boata government. I'm talking about the Ellington, from the George Weah. This guy came to me and said, "What is my contribution to World Fire Truck?" I said, "Dude, we live in the article. Which country you ever saw an individual runs fire truck? Those things are government issues." So now it just gave me a whole different reflection. Like, so I'm here fighting for these people, and this guy in Liberia attacking me. Maybe he's on the show. Hopefully he's listening to me. You know, I don't really care. You know, this guy came after me.
You don't care, you're talking it.
Really? And it was not just it. Another guy too. And I was speaking for, on their behalf. No, I don't live in Liberia. I was just saying it because it's getting too much. Everywhere you go, houses burning. At least that you have one fire truck, Lofa. We have 136 districts. At least post one fire truck to a district, man.
Thank you.
All the money that people get, at least one.
Thank you, bro.
Lofa causing that.
They want the money to do.
Thank you, bro. Let's hear from the next caller, 404. Caller, your name and where you calling from. Let's hear from you.
Georgia number.
Your name and where you calling from, sir.
My name is Sam Taylor. I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Mr. Taylor, let's hear from you.
Yeah. Lofa, I just called to contribute towards the program this year. Yeah, I think my name is Sam Taylor.
Go ahead. Don't listen to the monitor. Don't listen. Forget about it. Listen to your phone. Because you're hearing me. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to contribute towards the program this evening.
Okay.
Lofa, for God's sake, no, I'm not listening to the monitor. I'm far away from the monitor. Okay, you getting me now?
We're getting you loud and clear.
Okay. Look, for me, I just want to say that the country, we have 15 counties. And if the government, if Joseph Boata is the president and you win the election, you need to get people from all sectors of the county to represent the country. You can appoint one set of people to just in one set of county. That is not good. And how can we foster unity if we get everybody coming from local county? I love people because people from my party is seriously, but sometimes we need to put it with the right law. So I just want to say, and I want to ask a question. Joseph advocated for $3 million or $2 million for a fire truck. The budget here have a lot. I think they bought a fire truck now because there was some money that was placed in the budget for fire truck.
Well,
I just want to know.
Well, the placement. While you're on the phone, I guess you're the last caller. First of all, once the budget, the budget is created, it got to go through the approval process, and then funds may available for all of that process. So I don't know whether that is available, but as I look at the budget that I'm looking at, that 2 million you're talking about, you and I will have to go stand down waterside to beg people to add their money for us to get that amount of money you're talking about.
But look, I'm not talking about this budget that is the so-called majority black part. I'm talking about the previous budget that just right now within January.
But that amount was not in it, boss man.
No, so what we have been talking about getting that amount for
You and I need to you and I need to collaborate and stand against them. They're not in our interest. That's what I keep saying. But thank you for your call, boss man.
All right, guys, we got about 12 more minutes. The radio will be off. But if you guys want to stay on, the radio go off, that'll be fine. But we can either do our closing or we stay on. What you guys want to do? I'm gonna hang out 8. I'm gonna go at 8, honestly. So what you guys want to do? We got about 12 more minutes. Let's do our. I mean, if you guys want to do the closing now, or you guys want to hang on yet, that's fine.
It's the weekend, so I personally would say maybe hopefully we would discuss one topic. If you got to go, that's cool. We would just sit out here and maybe chat in on one topic and then let it go. Maybe get out of here by 8:10, 8:15.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
it.
I'll go by 8. So what's the topic? So, if I bring it up,
I personally, the two things I really wanted to talk about. One is this issue of President Boykai's decision to travel from Monrovia to Lofa County in a private jet. I mean, what does that say to those who he actually promised will not have to deal with bad roads? Because if you have to think about it, throughout President Boykai's first year, the first tenure of his presidency, people were complaining about bad roads. It was literally the biggest concern. And you understand when the roads are bad, transportation, the prices skyrocket. Now here we are, President Boykai, who's supposed to be the role model at the very forefront of, having to show people that he's about the true transformation or the promises that were made. He's now using private jets. Before, during the elections, Yomli Conga Lawrence and Senator Darius Dillon said he needed not to go on the campaign trail because the people's minds are already made up. But yet and still, he used Sierra Leone or I think another country to go campaign. After the campaign today, here we are talking about some form of deceptive behavior where he flew in private jet, something that President Weah did, but he went international. President Boykai in Liberia is traveling via private jets. And here we are, we're looking at it as the comfort of the presidency and his decision to remain healthy. What do we make of it? Let's be honest to ourselves and let's speak to is this favorable to the nation, or this is some form of deception as one would want to describe it? Dr. Peabody, let's start with you.
Well, there's multiple deception in this government. It is multiplicity of lies and deceptions and other things. If the president cannot fly, I cannot go to Lofa. You have to take a plane to go there. So then, where is the road that they talk about $22 million that it was so fast to develop some of the road outside of Liberia and all of that? The fact is, I always said this, and folks may like it or folks may hate me, but I know President Boykai have a heart for Liberia, but he's just old. He know what he's doing. He know what he's saying. He just said things under the clear blue sky that make no sense. That's not going to happen. So it's like a thing about 80-year-old person. I know folks who are 80 years old, good people in this country, and they'll tell me, say, Henry, I'm just not who I used to be. I mean, Caucasian. They will tell me, Henry, I'm not what I used to be. I can't do certain things. I can't think good. I'm always forgetting things. I have to write things. or somebody have to remind me every now and then. I'm not. If you turn 80, bless his heart, God bless him. But I think this old man is old. He can't lead Liberia. People are just there telling him, and he's just doing things without even the ability to think whether it's right or wrong, or to even make a strong decision and say, "Hey, this is what is good for our country." The fact is, our president is not able to lead at this time. To be honest, he's not the president who's going to be able to lead. He's old. He forgets a lot. He's not able to make certain decisions, and people just do it on his behalf. If the president do it, but we see that deception is just what the other day they lied and have you seen folks who lied and lied like how this government, folks in the government lied. They would lie and say he spoke with Elon Musk. They would lie and say he went to Ghana and he had a Zoom meeting with the vice president while the president was in Switzerland. They would lie about yellow machine. They would lie about 30 in 100 days, no rule. You talk about 100 days, no rule, but yeah, you are there flying right to Lofa, right in Lofa. You weren't able to get in the car. That's why I speak to OH. He can't even sit in the car for 6 hours because he's old. So they have to take him by plane. That's
so Dr. Peabody, let me ask you a quick question though. In that regards, then, would it be fair to say that considering the presidency, the office of the president, one may say, hey, we're trying to protect the health of the president, so for that reason, we're trying to provide some level of comfort in transportation. And if that is the case, how fair is that based on the campaign message that we receive?
Well, people tell you again that he's the president of the country. He can't be flying commercial jet, right? He's old. Mm-hmm. He can't be sitting in car for 6 or 7 hours driving on a long road. A road that's difficult. He's old. He does that. Health issue and stuff like that. You put an 80 man in a car for 6, 7 hours to ride. That's a serious problem. So for that reason, they're giving him comfort because he's old. He can't sit in the car for 6 hours. That's a long time for an 80-year-old person.
Wow. Pewee, let's hear from you, Bossman. What's your reaction to this whole thing? I'm pretty sure you listen, you follow the narrative. What's your input? You're muted.
I discussed the last time on this platform that it was a missed opportunity, and I want to discuss it the way that the Peabody is going. I thought he's kind of a little graphic in terms of his description. I thought it was a missed opportunity.
Graphic.
I said you sounded a little graphic. You may too old today. What I believe, on the most serious note, is that I thought it was a missed opportunity on the part of the president to fly instead of traveling via road. Because for the president, now the government is using this process to say to the people of Liberia that they've done some good work in terms of road relative to road connection, construction of roads. So I thought the president should have used this as an opportunity to showcase that. Directly interact with the people and say, hey, stop it this time, sometime. And that's why when president is leaving from Monrovia, and that was part of the former president Taylor's whole process about decentralizing the government. He always said he will remove Liberia from Monrovia. And that process, I normally sit and reflect on some of the things he would say. I say, hey, I hope I was the president of this country. I would do the same as Taylor was trying to put into place to remove Liberia from Monrovia, because everything is centralized into Monrovia. And how can we shift from those kind of a process about centralizing everything in our country to the capital city, just in that eclipse of that metropolitan zone? How can we decentralize this? So Mr. President had this issue about the county tour. What he did was to, he will move in, and he had a very good, the convoy was great, good vehicles, good drivers. They will move into those ladder ride roads, riding with thick of dust. There was a time we were coming from Lofa, the president convoy passed. It took almost 10-15 minutes waiting to say. I was trying to imagine how the guys were trying to drive bumper to bumper, because that's a coverage kind of a presidential convoy, bumper to bumper in a kind of a thick dust. right, with all high beams on and the rest of that. So he took those kind of line trips to show that you relate to the people, basically understand what's the plight of the people. They will relate to you. Some of the kids would come with no shirt on, coming from playing the dust. You will see them. You will understand the kind of a hazard level the folks are living. Those particularly on the highway where when it rain, the mud will come. When it rain, the dust. So you, the head of state, will have an appreciation as to what is happening in the country, and you will take some time. You come and sit in the executive mansion or in the comfort of your home and try to think, say, hey, I think I was elected by those people to impact their lives. But if you fly around, because from Monrovia to I flew that distance before from Monrovia to Vonjama or Foya. If you fly around maybe between 15 to 18, 20,000, I mean between 15 to 10 to 15,000 feet above sea level, right? You're not going to see nothing, basically. Nothing you're going to see. So the basic point there is the president will take time, because if you travel, you deeply going to get connected to people. You're going to see where the challenges are. And those areas that are hard to go zone, very, very possible for vehicle to plow easily. You're going to see the public works minister will do some intervention there. Then you will come back and give some instruction. So it was a total missed opportunity on the part of the president and those that are advising him to even go in the air in your own country. I thought it was not a good thing to do.
And let me ask this question. What does that say about the 100-day promise that was made then? Because considering the fact that the president refused, okay, to, go by road, he flew. Now, what do you make of the 100-day promise that was made when the president himself is refusing to use the very promise that was made to the people to his advantage to get in contact with them?
Yeah, Lofa, I think the promise, the commitment about the rule, about no car wishing the mud, I think it was just political. It was a bluff talk at the time.
It was bluff.
It was bluff. And I'm one person that said this clearly, and I would love to be very clear here. And that's why folks, we have to understand some of our position when we speak to things. We are fearless. We saw it past time, but it was the president's own preparedness, basically, to say, hey, he probably didn't, he underestimated the process of saying 100 days and not understanding the severity of how deplorable our roads are in the country. Not only deplorable, or how backward we are in terms of roads, right? So he didn't understand the picture of that. And when we say Liberian politicians, in many cases, African politicians, basically Liberian politicians, are deceptive, right? So that was part of the process of what he sounded at the time. I don't think I was going to hold him because I knew that was not possible. To come and say no cargo to in the mud in 100 days, no cargo, that was not possible. You didn't have that of thing. We struggling stay in the country. But I thought he would have used this because his commitment to build, that's this commitment you see in the president to build roads, to connect the country, particularly the country he's from and the rest of the country. He's key in doing that. So that's what I'm saying. It was a missed opportunity. Take the time, get in a convoy, drive along the road, see from Guar, for instance, from Guar all the way now moving into the Many-Common border on that side of the border, and the Vonjama side of it. You would drive. Even the president would drive in a way manner that the president would spend 2 days or whole day, Lofa, to get into Foya. He should have done that to see an appreciation of what is unfolding. So now the next thing quickly, and the president is due to go to the Southeast soon or do this. I will advise the president to every 3 months. It can be every month that the president do. Every 3 months, the president do a nationwide tour. The president can tour the country 3 times a year. That will give the president an appreciation of what is happening in terms of development process, in terms of local government structuring process, the connectivity between local government and central government, and all of those things. It will you'll get an appreciation. He gets back to the country. The next budget preparation period, you would now tell your minister of finance, these are areas I believe we can extract poverty. We can eliminate poverty from this area, put some money in the budget for this area, put some money in the budget for school for the kids here. Most of those kids are not going to school in this town. There are certain times we observe, you will observe if you travel along the road. You will see kids walking. They're walking, dragging to school. You can
thank you, Pewee. Anthony, you heard Pewee, and again, President Barker flew from Monrovia to Lofa County. Your reaction?
Lofa, the other day we were grading the government official here. I think Ben and Tomalin picked this very, minister of public works. Right? His name is Guinness, right?
Guinness. I mean,
Yeah.
who they did what?
They picked him as one of the guys who is trying his best. Right?
That must be a joke.
I could have did forward that, but I didn't get a chance to.
That must be a
with
joke.
too many on the platform, I didn't get a chance to.
That's a joke.
To actually, give a start on that particular, selection. But here's the thing: when you build dirt road like the one that were reconditioned in Liberia, on a dirt road, you do something we call you built the road in a sloping way in this form, right? There's a dish on the right and the left, so that when it rains, the water drips down this way. If you look at the road that were reconditioned, like strictly flat, none of the dented side was done. That's one aspect. The number two aspect here is that, let's assume, okay, let's give it to the president. 100 days is not feasible. He's a politician. He's not a road engineer or civil engineer to understand road construction. Granted, he's a politician. But you have your technocrat in the field who are communicating with people. But now, after a complete year, because this was a complete whole year now before the president went to Lofa County, they themselves know they can't put the president on that road. They know the road is bad. He will not travel by road to Grand Jallah County. I tell you for a fact, for free. He will not travel on that road. All right? Because the road is not in good condition for the president to travel on the road. Since this president came into office, he had not stayed in Liberia for strictly 1 month. Remember this? Within every month, he traveled outside of the country. There is a reason why he's doing that. He got to seek medical attention. So he cannot.
That is not true, man. How you say that? That's not true, man. So how you say something about the guy? That's the
Listen.
But I thought
look at the itinerary of the president. Had the president stayed strictly 30 days in Liberia?
More. Stop saying that, man.
I can be. I'm not Bible.
No.
I'm not Bible, but
why we agree with
he traveled a lot.
Government, blatantly make us stories.
Listen, you will have your time. One good thing you do here when you're speaking, people can listen to you, but when people speak, you can't listen to them.
Because I don't get misinformation.
What? You don't get what?
I don't get misinformation.
That's not true.
Or I don't intentionally mislead.
You said the other day that we don't have the manpower to have industrialized nation. That we can't have factory like that because we don't have the manpower.
Did I?
You said
part of the measurement. You saying that you want to compare. You want to say more.
All right, guys, Scott, we got a few minutes.
Okay, you perfect. Me, I'm not perfect.
Okay, Anthony. Yeah, we got a few minutes. We want Dr. Peabody wants to go, and I'm not hosting tonight, so let's close.
Yeah, I tend to partially.
So here's the thing, Lofa. In this whole process here, the government failed on the whole road thing. Let's just be. You took $10 million. Like I said, because you didn't spend the $22 million.
You spent
$11 million, and the rest went to go.
Anthony, you said who for that getting Minister of Public Works of the Year?
Tomalin, Ben Sanvee.
You must be kidding me. I read it now. You kidding me?
Right? So that's the thing, right? When you see these things happening, I challenge anyone outside of MCC eligibility of this administration. What is the signature accomplishment of this administration for the year 2024? Outside of MCC eligibility, passing the MCC scorecard and being eligible for the MCC, what is this administration signature accomplishment?
Okay.
And you can point to it because they try to do so many things at once and nothing was done correctly. Lofa, look, efforts are good things. You can make all of your efforts, but you and I know in our line of work, effort without result lead you to nothing. At the end of the day, it is your performance, it is your deliverable, it is the result. You must deliver. You can't work on a project and the project fail. They give you a task. You can't finish the task. They help you out today. They help you out tomorrow. You can't finish the task. You keep trying, nothing working. They will replace you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. Dr. Peabody, I mean, if you guys want us to give our closing, I'm open.
I'm open. If you guys want to stay along, I'm open.
No, I think I'm good. I'm ready to leave. So
okay,
let's give our closing and call it a night.
Closing, man. We've been here since what, 4:30?
Yeah, let's give our closing.
This Friday, unfortunately, it's snowing for me, so I'm just drinking a lot of hot tea right now.
Yeah, hot tea. Yeah.
You know, a lot of hot tea. It's snowing.
I would look for the answer of Pewee telling us that we can't have Joshua.
Pewee, it's snowing.
I was sitting
drinking hot tea.
Is that snowing not your side?
Yeah, so I'm drinking hot tea.
Okay.
I'll imagine to you, Pewee.
No, to be, I mean, honestly, in my closing, my closing statement would be sincerely, I think the government should start the prioritize.
Lofa, before you do your closing, I follow. Sorry, this is a gossip. I follow Martin Collins post today. He accusing Buchi Ben Keita, who's the advisor to President Garguah, the legal advisor, of fraudulent documents, saying he lied about the college. And then Buchi Ben responded. But then the way he responded, they really did not show. If you follow that story, it's crazy now. It's a gossip thing. I know.
I think we can dive a little bit into that. You probably
is this credential legit?
But the issue of
it's flowing. Where you want to go down there?
Good question, Pewee. You're the moderator. How is it that we're supposed to be on?
Look like a moderator.
No, I'm not moderating. You're moderating.
Where you want to go?
I'm not paying 4:30.
Listen.
Y'all get our audience something.
You got
show, and now we started the midnight show.
Lofa. Yeah. I want other people. You got study snow treatment medicine that you want to go first. Then you back up here.
My hot tea. Ain't my teacup.
Well, you say how the teacup.
Your mom is allowed to show.
But I don't have too much tea bag. I got no buy some.
It is snow.
All right.
Regarding that particular post, I think I came across that.
It'll bring it to your house.
I think I came across that at one point, but this is what I have been very careful of. All right, critiquing people's academic credentials, because again, in these modern dispensations, there are folks who are able to, just multitask in a way where you can acquire certain certifications. People use those on their, resume. Back home, they reference them as CVs. So I'm very careful. But in the case of this particular individual, his justification that made me laugh. I was like, okay, this dude, I don't know. Because at my place of employment, we have what we call Udemy. Udemy is this complete site that is available where you go there, you do technical training and everything. You go to the entire training, and then it prepares you to sit for the exams or the test, and then you're certified.
My company paid for the set too.
Right. So you can go through that and be certified. But that is not, you cannot consider that a university. Nope. That is not a university.
Let me ask a question. What would you make Keita say about his son?
That's it. He said, there you go. Go ahead, Jack.
I'll try to find what I think he shouldn't have responded, because the thing is, he talked about the bank he walked to, the training that he got, and they used to send he became a loan advisor. He worked with a bank. But I mean, Buchi Ben is a very smart guy, though. He's very smart. He went to Cottington. He was a lawyer in Liberia. He's a very smart guy.
We're talking about
Dr. Peabody, and this is where I often.
But smart doesn't mean he acquires discipline.
It doesn't mean he's smart.
Okay,
It
Let
doesn't
me
say
read her response.
Yeah, you go say you got it there. If you don't have
what is his response?
Yeah,
Please
because
read it for us.
what the distinction is the discipline. If
Anthony,
you
hold on
plead
one
a
second.
discipline, then you have to have
Dr.
a
Peabody
legitimate
read.
paper for that discipline.
Go ahead, read.
He didn't talk about his. He didn't talk about. He said, "Let me just read what he said. I migrated and worked with Citibank first in commercial banking. Then I transferred to investment banking, in banking side, and worked as an associate financial advisor. I was ambitious and wanted to be a certain group financial advisor. I was selected to attend Smith Barney University, a university owned by Citibank. It's on investment on Smith Barney. This was for an advanced certification in financial market and trading in order to qualify as a financial advisor. But you didn't say.
I told you, the man keys on him is the message. The message. The message.
Anthony, let's do one at a time. Anthony, one at a time. Let's do one at a time.
Because they have a Comcast University, right, where you study about all of the equipment they use, all of the technology they use, and everything. That is not a qualification of that discipline.
No.
Right? You can't claim that.
No.
It's just to buttress your work. That's all. You can't claim that you have a discipline in that area.
I don't think you should have responded.
A accredited, university, like Lofa was alluding to just now, Udemy, right? Udemy, there are all different type of certification on there. The Microsoft Azure, the AWS, and all the different certification. Even cybersecurity stuff, all on there. But if you get a certification from there, it will give you a job, but it does not mean that you have
it's a degree
in something.
Yeah. And I think he should have not responded to Martin, because now what he read there.
Maybe he respond to more question now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
More, because I'm like, this does not allude to you what Martin said, that you lied about the degree, you lied about the university, and lied.
Because the man challenged his law as a is he a lawyer actually?
No, he is a lawyer. He graduated from the other school of law. Okay. He did. But my point is,
I think everything the man said the law degree fake.
I won't bother on there now. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
That's my thing. You understand, and this is where
why he came out of country. Yeah, the man said all those things. So again.
He should have not. If I was him, I would not. I would have not responded.
Oh yeah, because
Martin on his creative stuff again. Leave it, because the fact is Martin exposed him, and his defense was very poor. Because what all he wrote about, what training he became, it didn't say he obtained a master. It didn't say he obtained a bachelor degree.
But he not talking about the trainings.
He talked all the same. The Smith.
And the mayor challenge.
Yeah. So amount to a financial advisor to the president, the minimum requirement you must have a master's degree in finance or economics at least.
Is it a financial? He's not a financial.
Huh?
The man not finance advisor to the president.
Legal advisor.
The man is a legal advisor to the
legal.
Legal advisor.
But like I said,
that even more than many more.
No, Martin really went deep. He should. If I were him, there are some things that require just leave it, let it slide.
Yeah, as a legal advisor, you gotta have somebody who passed the bar or something like that.
No, he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer for Liberia.
Oh, okay.
I think to serve in that capacity, one must have the legal understanding.
Oh yeah, to be a legal advisor, you should have a legal
right. Have the legal understanding. And then it must come with not just the theory, but the practical aspect of it. Right? You must have to apply it. But like Dr. Peabody said, my only disagreement here is I think had he done that to just ignore Martin's post, it probably would have pushed not the red flag, but it probably would have been the yellow light. So people would have been, and now people would have been questioning, why is he not responding to Martin's claim? Now that he responded, I think his response should have been much more adequate.
He responded and exposed himself. Yes.
Thank you. I think in his response, he probably, matter of fact, I would have had somebody from my office. Again, that's why I wonder why these guys don't think when they're doing things. my office would have responded, and not me personally. I wouldn't have done that.
I would tell you that every day. Yeah, you're hired as private consultant.
Thank you. My office would have responded.
Why you hire the closing argument as a consultant?
Oh yeah, the closing argument respond. Yeah,
I would have done that. No, we don't want to be hired as his consultancy.
Okay, yeah, hire us individually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I wouldn't have responded individually. I would have had my office respond to him and be clear in my view on my certification or my academic credentials.
Then, as other people was saying, then you have something we call plausible deniability. If the person blunder, then you can't fix it.
Not right. It may not have been clarified. Again, all of these things come with the professional and
See, we know why the president makes mistakes because
this is why a lot of times we tell people begging people to hold their bags and walk around with it does not in any way makes you a professional person. But again, I'll say that is their thing. They can go ahead and deal with it. When it comes here, we will discuss it. But in closing, the issue of the fire, President Barker came with fire, and the fire continues.
I mean, the puppy enjoy his benefit, and you need a puppy.
You know, Lofa, for me, what really struck me was that map justice. You know, a man in broad daylight being stoned to death.
Yeah,
Lofa.
It been happening there, yes.
Broad left for what?
Yeah, but listen now, not because it's been happening, so it should continue.
But
they claim
don't get me wrong. I'm saying I condemn it, but we have to.
No, not you. We all have
happening.
I'm not talking to you, Pewee. I'm talking about the government now.
Yeah.
Right?
Now they have not arrested nobody yet.
There's circumstances here.
But brother, you ain't got carry. Who you accused?
But the minute on social media, people on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
They can't. They're not right now. Yeah.
And it's sad. You watch the video and you hear people talking. Oh, the man stay alive. Let's go finish it. The other guy keep from camera. I want to finish it. I want to finish it.
Yeah.
And the man took the rack and put on the man. Oh my God, on the man's face.
Well, I couldn't up to now. If you were to bring that on the screen, I would do that until that time before I come back up to this. I didn't see the rack landing on the guy.
We are breeding monster in our country.
I couldn't stand that. Man.
It is dangerous.
Then up to now, the police have not come out.
It's just like the Zoko issue, like bro, they may not be a family member today, but tomorrow
they may be a family member. Yeah.
Who knows?
The police is overwhelmed.
Sometimes because this mob thing is bad. Because why it does is that.
What?
Like agree, Anthony is walking in a community. He have gone to see somebody. He called his significant. He going to see the community. See, he missed his route, and unfortunately, they're running behind a kind of a would-be criminal somewhere. Put a go see Anthony straight in. All of the mayor, mob. It happened before. They have killed people that are far from being guilty of the alleged thing they were accused of. Because of the tendency of mob, and you look strange in our community, they have beaten people that way before and harmed them. So that's the reason why we need this issue.
I thought I was done with my closing though, but it appears that this whole issue of mob violence brings us again back. Who do we hold responsible for making sure that the law is the law and it is applied? Who do we hold responsible for this? I understand the citizens themselves must understand, but at this point,
the government.
Look, no anything but about it.
The
government needs to set a tone. Nobody will take the law.
That's why they don't give everybody the power to run the country.
Thank you.
The government that is there, we have to regulate. If there's no rule and order in the place, I would just look at you, I'll punch you, I'll call your throat. God forbid, right? But that's
right. No, but you're right.
Right? So what the government need to do is set the stage.
Like when President we are invited Harry Costa to Broad Street to fight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, don't mind.
Set the stage. Here's what you're gonna do. You deploy. You make sure you tell all your security apparatus. Say the whole thing, but mob gotta be serious about it. And you send the message forth. And then by that process, government should always manage. Now, what they say they got the NSA, they get to the red, they got the NSA info.
Look, Pewee, let me get you this, right?
Quickly. The properly, all the communities, you should have at least 2-3% all the communities. I swear, boom, the thing happening, they get a camera now, seeing who they in the community doing what.
Yeah.
I swear,
that
agent responsibility is there to call NSA headquarters and say, oh, chief, XYZ person that they put involved in it here. You can hear intelligent. The next thing you're going to do now, you're inviting the police. NSA will pass information up to the police. The police go and pick up the people. They have video and photo evidence to back it up. As soon as you get the information, the next thing you do the next day, you come out in a radio, you put them out on stream, call the press, and you charge them appropriately. And then when you charge them, you make the president make a statement that there will be a special code set for the government will come and say we got special code for mob issue.
Thank you.
That's how you set the tone, and Pewee.
That's when you set the tone down, and the reason why they put mob somebody, and they say in a motorcyclist they on those truck. For instance, the Bannersville Dixville side where we live, where I live. They got it, the dump truck, they got it ready to fly, got it ready to run the truck. They got it, swear that we will be running the area. There's a time they even kill some motorcyclists. The guy will go and burn the truck. It shouldn't be the case, right? So, what can you do as government to pull out to the men running that way in the heart of the city? You see, if you respond to the public slowly in terms of justice, you allow them to take laws into their hands. So that's the problem.
So, Pewee,
it's from both sides.
Well, I always use this analogy. You and I, when we're driving here and there is a police cruiser on the side of the road with the lights on, whether or not there is a police officer in our cruiser, guess what happened? We all slow down. Who tells us to slow down?
Don't you say that one? That's it on the freeway. Like yesterday, I was driving. I was coming to your end, right?
Yeah.
On the freeway, on the 95, right? Skipping from the 95 there. Yeah. I see part from the 95.
Yeah.
The police have arrested a driver ahead of us. That's why the light blinking, right? But again, this time around, Waze will tell you, Google Map will tell you, police ahead.
Will tell you police ahead, yeah.
You will see the every time you will see. About 3 miles to walk where the police park that car. Yeah, everybody started to slow down. That policeman already on the car. Yes. Everybody started coming down. Everybody started. You could see the 95 cooling off.
There is a reason why we do that, because you know when you get the police officer can pull over everybody.
No.
But if you are the one he picked that day and pull you over, 2 things gonna happen. If you are speeding, they get you speeding ticket. That speeding ticket will affect your insurance premium.
Yes.
It will also affect your driving record because you will accumulate points on your license.
Yes.
Third option, when you are to get a job that requires you driving a company vehicle, you may not get that job because points now on your license.
Exactly. And if it is, God forbid, it is DUR.
And then if it's DUR, that's 12,000 bills talking about here.
The insurance go up high.
12,000 bills
and the possibility of having to lose your license.
Yeah, yes. and going to jail.
Yeah. So again,
if you have to drive to work,
nobody has to tell you slow down when you see police.
There are some people that go to jail.
The law compel you and I
for DUR business, go do weekends. The weekenders. Yeah, weekend to go to Friday.
I knew one of my man though. He's a every weekend.
Like we got DUR.
Yeah. The next one, I'll be there. I'll meet the party. I'll meet there.
It's not because we are so loyal about it. It is a system that compel you and I.
You know what they weekenders DUR today? The weekend and the man know the time against the runner. Friday, 4:35. You not go.
Yeah. You're not coming by a Sunday. You're not coming at a Sunday night or Monday morning.
Sunday night, like 8 p.m.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is the thing. The government,
it's like a restraint.
The township, everybody benefiting from that one ticket that they're giving you because motor vehicle will get his cut when your license is suspended. The township get his cut. The insurance company will get a cut because the insurance premium will reason why.
But guys, we were discussing all of these positive policy issues and safety related issues. What stopped us as Liberians from implementing? You not a single one of us on this platform is acting as though we are not knowledgeable of these things.
But what stopped us?
It pains me.
Like Darren,
Let me tell you what stopped us, Lofa.
What is it? Because this is safety related.
Liberian by nature. Liberian by nature do not like to follow the thing they call regulation. We don't. You and I can be
no. That's not true.
Most of us.
Anthony, hold on one second. Let them do each other. Anthony, let me just say. Anthony, hold on one second. Let me just interject. You will come through. That is not just specific to Liberian. It's human by nature.
That's it. True.
It's human by nature.
That's true. You're right.
That is human by nature. But
before you come in quickly.
Oh,
and look, I just said about that human by nature, right? You know what can change other people that want to value those things? If you start punishing those that have done it.
Correct. So give me the chance.
Now, why in the country you got almost 300 plus made up in this country? Why you think?
I'm getting my time. I gotta go, guys.
Why you think we are?
I'm gonna leave myself.
Yeah. We'll be leaving soon. Why you think when we arrive to the stop sign in a community where there's no police, people nobody can stop? Why?
Yeah, because anytime police can be around the corner and what they call. You
That's
don't
right.
want to get ticket. So people, to what I was saying, right? You go to Liberia right now, you go to the bank, individual will come to the bank. By the time they come straight to go to the security guy or whoever in the bank, the security person, they get a bank slip to the security person. That security person goes straight to the teller. Those of you in the line, they're not going to service you guy. That security slip that he took to the teller will be serviced first. He takes the money, go to that person, get a late cut, the teller get a cut. The next person comes in, that routine is going on.
And we are all guilty of that. Even not as ghetto. So the teller will tell you, say, when you can't get water, come to me.
So for
then
me,
you see all up on murmuring, but it don't happen yet.
Yeah. When I went to Liberia, the UPA bank up on 5th Street in Single. When I went to Liberia, I purposely said, you know what? I'm not gonna do this. I want to test the system to see. Pewee, Dr. Peabody. When I went there, the first thing as soon as I entered straight, the security called me to the side. Say, my piggy, what's up? I said, how you doing? He said, where's the slip? I said, I'm getting the slip here. And when I got the slip, I filled it up. He said, give it to me. I said, for what? He said, my man, that is system here. I said, that system here, I'm going to give it to you. I thought he said, to make sure everybody eat order here. He said, okay, do your thing, yo. He walked away from me. I went in line. Pewee, there was only 4 persons ahead of me. Only 4 persons ahead of me. This is 10:40 a.m. I didn't leave that bank until 2:45. The bank closed at 3. All because I said I wanted to do it the right way. Every other person that came in, they served more than 35%.
Yeah, but sometimes
and I didn't get served until at the last minute before they served me.
Sometimes
that is not cool.
Some point in the bank can resist. A lot of even against stop. It's wrong, and they have to stop. And that's one of the issues there in the country. I swear. So, it shouldn't be an honorable man. Oh, honorable.
Yeah.
Honorable.
They gave me thoughts that. They know what's up.
But go come here and see. And you see the process looking at fast. Walk in the West Fargo Bank. In no time you gone.
In no time.
Imagine if you go even when some people come in the bank or in other area, they see you standing aside on the other side, they will want to find out from you, even when you're not online. Say, are you in line? Are you in line? They want to know because this is the news, so it's a culture
I always tell people, Molu myself were in the same bank here in America. He made a mistake on his slip. He went back out of the line, and after he corrected the thing he wanted to do on his slip, he went in the back of the line. Nobody told him. They tell him how to say, no, come in from you were already here. You just have to correct few things I saw. So come ahead. And he went ahead and said it because
how much money you have?
Do some correction on his slip. And he was served. But guess what? He knew to go back in the line.
So you took a picture out there in the bank?
I ain't take a picture. I shook his hand to get make sure you myself mad at all. I guess shook his hand.
You took that picture out in our West Fargo bank. You took that picture, right?
My man, I gotta go.
You took that picture.
But to see the man, money will not stay in line, like, bro. You know that.
Gentlemen, I gotta run. That do all things.
Good night.
Let's cut out night, man.
Good night,
Thank
you.
Good night. If you guys want to stay on, you can stay on.
No. If you stay on, I will stay on, boy. Go real good. Good night.
All right, my tea bag empty. I gotta get it.
Okay.
So, guys, if the weather good tomorrow, let's get together, man. I'll call you.
All right.
All right, guys. Good night.
Mhm.
All right.